What's going on, guys? DStyleBoxing here. Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on archive. Just Thursday night here. Nothing in particular, nothing in particular that I want to talk about. So trying to get access to the chat here real quick. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Let's open this damn chat. All right. Feel free to ask any questions. All right. Feel free to ask any questions. Boxing related. And if they're not boxing related, then it is what it is, man. I ain't gonna sweat it. Okay. A couple of stuff here. So number one. Okay. First of all, right. One of my videos got flagged or whatever, and it's usually they get disputed, and it's not a big deal, but it's not cool, man. It's not cool, right? Like, do some of you get so butthurt they gotta flag the video, right? Like, really, especially the one that got flagged. I mean, come on, right? I just shit on Hangouts, right? I come on here, I talk, give my opinion. If I play any type of audio, right, or even a video clip from YouTube, I do commentary on it, which is fair use. That's fair use, and I don't think that's cool, but it's all good. Okay, I ain't worried about it. This weekend we have the Adrian Broner versus Mikey Garcia fight. I'm really looking forward to this Adrian Broner Mikey Garcia fight, man. It's one of those fights, I've been thinking about it, and I told myself the closer we get to the fight, the more I'll feel confident making a prediction. You could check out that video. I did a collab there with Hype Low Type. Okay, we kind of talked about the fight and broke it down a little bit. Make sure you check that out. I've done my fair share of Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. Videos with a vast array of topics. So if this is the first time you're running into this, make sure you go ahead and check that out. Check out those videos, right? And remember, subscribe if you want, all right? And look, man, I don't disable my thumbs up and thumbs down. So if you don't like something I say, thumbs it down. Don't flag it, all right? Come on, all right? Anyway, it's crazy because I see some of the craziest shit on YouTube. Okay, I see some of those blatant copyright shit like beyond for 5 years on YouTube, and it's mind-boggling. But I don't want to talk more about that bullshit. Okay, that's that, and I'll move on from there. I'm sure the dispute will go through. Okay. By the way, I'm not allowed to tell you to click on ads and stuff like that. I'm not allowed to tell you that. Just putting it out there, right? Putting it out there. I'm waiting for this feed to be sent out here. It always takes about 5-6 minutes to kick in, right? Mikey Garcia versus Adrian Broner. A couple of stuff I was thinking about that I touched on in the video, but I want to talk a little more here. Mikey Garcia, this is to me anyway. I mean, this is the fight where we find out, is he the real deal? Like every fighter has that fight, at some point in their career, right? Like, I remember, for Andre Ward, that was Mikhail Kessler. Many people believed Andre Ward was a real deal. I was one of those people, right? I was confident about it, but at the same time, I also knew this is where we find out, if Andre Ward's the real deal. And it turned out he was. You know, it turned out that he was the real deal. Every fighter has that fight. You know, for Floyd Mayweather Jr., that was Gerardo Hernandez, right? I mean, everybody has that fight where we find out, okay, is this guy all hype, okay, or is he the real deal? Is what we're seeing the real deal or not? And to me, for Mikey Garcia, this is the fight. This is the fight where we find out, is Mikey Garcia the real deal? Okay, I'm not saying he's Holyfield. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. All right, but this is the fight where we find out. Also, Adrian Broner, he's saying the right things. Like, he's saying the right things. He sounds confident. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, like, like, is it for real this time? But like I said, man, my prediction stands. I believe Mikey Garcia will win. And I based that prediction off of if both guys come at their best. There's a lot of guys out there saying, oh, no. If Adrian Broner comes at his best, he'll beat Garcia. But I don't believe he will. He's too distracted. Adrian Broner this, Adrian Broner that. Well, that's why I hope Adrian Broner brings his best. Yeah, I want to see Adrian Broner bring his best. I don't want any what ifs. I don't want any, well, if Broner prepared more, if Broner this, if Broner that. I want Broner to bring his best, and I don't want any excuses. And if, since we're talking about ifs, if Adrian Broner fails to bring his best, then that's his problem, okay? That is entirely his problem, right? Now, speaking of fights where guys have to prove they were the real deal, as I kind of run through this, it's. I think if you've been watching boxing for a while, you know what I mean, right? Like for me, Miguel Cotto, right? I think for Miguel Cotto, although you could make an argument for the Torres fight, and like there's some other fights, but to me, maybe even the Quintana fight, you could make an argument that the Quintana fight was, but to me, like as far as perception, like to the public, the fight that Miguel Cotto were like, okay, is this guy for real? It was that Zab Judah fight. That was the fight to me that everybody kind of realized, like, okay, we no longer think he's a real deal. We know he's a real deal, and again, I'm not talking about Holyfield, right? Trying to think of other fighters here. It's kind of tough just to think off the top of your head. Oscar De La Hoya, it was probably the Chavez fight. I think it was the Chavez fight that kind of showed us he was a real deal. And then there's fights where you prove that you're special. But now to me, proving you're a special fighter is a long-term thing. It's a consistent thing. It's something you show in the course of time. Like, I don't think you could show you're a special fighter in one fight. At least it's rare. But there's sometimes it comes out, and to me, like if you look at Floyd Mayweather, kind of knew he was special when he did what he did to Diego Corrales. That's when we realized, okay, this guy's not only good. And people forget he was a big underdog in that fight. He's not only good. I mean, he steps it up to a whole nother level when he's confronted with bigger opposition. Almost literally. I mean, he was a tall guy for his weight class, Diego. Okay, rest in peace, by the way. A lot of guys don't pass that test. Okay, there's many, like, to me, now they could always overcome it, but like I was extremely high on Linares. Okay, Jorge Linares. I was a big fan, and I still am. I think he has phenomenal boxing skills. That guy is tremendously. He's extremely skilled, but tremendously. But right, the chin ain't all there. The punch resistance ain't all there. and has very delicate skin, okay, to say the least. He cuts easy, and those are things that you can't really tell, and to me, like that fight where he was going to break out, was that DeMarco fight, and he fell short. He felt very short, and he was winning too. Like he was handily beating DeMarco, and a bloodied up DeMarco just ended up knocking him out. That was quite a sight to see, actually. What's up, Doc? Mr. Doc's in the chat. The Doc says Cotto proved he was a real deal at using low blows to keep Zab from knocking the spark out. Yeah, but fair play, he did beat the ever-living shit out of Judah. It's interesting to know people's take on that. Miguel Cotto, he did land some, those are some low shots. They really were. And many people do, in fact, question, how would the fight played out, if Cotto hadn't done that, because Cotto was hurt at that point, and that was where Zab Judah had control. My thing is, I kind of have a feeling like Judah would have, because Judah is a front runner. He was always a front runner. Like Zab Judah was at one point in the boxing world. At one point, Zab Judah was the best boxer in the world for the first 4 rounds. Right? For the first 4 rounds, Zab Judah, nobody could beat him. Right? At one point, he was that good. He was never the best in a, except the Katsu fight. Okay, we won't count that one. All right. But that one aside, okay, in the first 4 rounds, I mean, Zab Judah was always on point, and but yeah, those shots were definitely low, and we can't go reverse them anymore. I know it's a Puerto Rican thing. I know Trinidad was infamous for that shit. Trinidad, man. He would hit low, man. Like Trinidad would hit low. I'm just saying. Okay. Let's see here. Mr. Doc Putt, people forget Zab was an undisputed champ at 147. Yes, he was. Yes, he was an undisputed champ at 147. Right? By the way, Doc, I'm not sure if you're interested or not, but I'm going to be on here for about an hour, so or more or less. But if you want to come on, I can send you a link. Just let me know. All right. Let's see here. Trying to run down through some stuff. I know there was something I want to say about Broner and just this fight here. Oh yeah. Check it out. There's been a lot of talk about some of the stuff that were said between Mikey and Adrian Broner. Okay, like me, to me, it's just words. These guys are going to go in the ring and punch each other. Okay, okay. I want people to understand it. Like saying mean words to one another is nothing. Always being disrespectful. They're about to punch each other. Okay, I mean that is as escalated as it can get. Okay, I don't know how much more escalated you want it to get. Okay, throughout the history of the sport, fighters have said things to one another. Okay, fighters have said things that they probably shouldn't have said. Right, and some have apologized, some have not. Okay, I mean you had Ricardo Mayorga talk shit about De La Hoya's son. Okay, I mean you had Fernando Vargas tell De La Hoya he's not a real Mexican, right? I mean you had Roberto Duran saying he's gonna basically insinuate, and that's putting it lightly, that he's gonna bang Sugar Ray Leonard's wife. Okay, I mean it's and yes, There has been some, if you want to say it, inappropriate or whatnot, but let's not beat around the bush, okay? Um, there is and it's many divides, but there is a racial element to boxing, okay? There always has been, okay? That there's always been a national element to boxing. It's been a nationalistic sport, okay? There's been a cultural. It's a cultural sport, right? And that's that, okay? And Adrian Broner, Mikey Garcia, and one thing people are not really talking about is a classic rivalry. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. When it comes to, you know, and I understand that Mikey's a Mexican American, but nonetheless, when it comes to a Hispanic fighter, right, a Chicano, a Mexican, whatever you want to call it, versus an African American fighter, that's been a long time rivalry. Period. Like, well, why are people beating around the bush about that? Okay. Now, I'm not here to say, to me, Mike Garcia calling him Donkey Kong is very questionable. Okay, that there's many ways to talk shit. Like, you know what I mean? If you want to talk shit, right? I don't care about talking shit, but at the same time, whatever. But as far as the racial element, let's not kid ourselves. Like, there's always been that element. Okay, always. And to me, I mean, it's kind of similar, I guess, to like the Yankees and the Red Sox or whatever. Only in this case, people are sensitive about it because it involves race. Okay, but to me, okay, has there always been a lot of shit talking over it? Sure, right? But let's not pretend like that hasn't been a rivalry. It's so different to the Mexican versus the Puerto Rican, right? Okay, it's no different. Okay, that is a rivalry. Okay, and that has an ethnic component to it. Okay, you can't like deny that. Anybody who denies that is fucking crazy, right? You don't think when Vladimir Klitschko fought Povetkin, the fact that he's Ukrainian and Povetkin was Russian, that there was some element there. Like there was, and they tell you there isn't. They're fucking lying, right? It's so different, like in gymnastics when the Romanians and the whatever the former Soviet Union gymnastic teams compete against those, and I know I'm bringing up gymnastics here, but against like the Russians, there's bad blood there. Okay, there's an element of I don't want to lose to them. Okay, but at the end of the day, like in boxing, after the fight, it's over, and whatever. Like everybody moves on. Okay, but maybe it's something people don't understand. But what are you gonna do? Now to Doc there, if you can, Chavez Senior is not Chicano. I never said Chavez Senior was Chicano. All right, but anyway, to Doc here, can you send me a private message with your email on it here on YouTube? Send me a private message with your email. Hell, I mean, you want to talk about rivalries? The Mexican American versus the Mexican nationalist has been a long time rivalry, right? Long time. I mean, I still remember when Chavez Senior, okay, was in Los Angeles, right, in a press conference before his fight with Oscar De La Hoya. Okay, I still remember that. And interesting. Think about this. Oscar De La Hoya, okay, was getting booed, okay, because he was going to fight the Mexican legend, and Mexican Americans adored Chavez Senior, right? And I remember Chavez Senior mocking him, basically mocking him, saying, "Oh, look, he's getting booed by, in his own hometown. I would be embarrassed if they booed me in my hometown, right?" But there's always been that rivalry. You know what I mean? Between, like I'll never forget when Marquez was going to fight Juan Diaz, and like they were doing like the promo packages, okay? And Juan Diaz said, "I'm not sorry, not Juan Diaz, but Marquez said, all right, they're fighting in Houston. Okay, by the way, I believe it was Houston or it was somewhere in Texas." Um, and Marquez says, "Diaz is half Mexican because he's Mexican American, right? I'm 100% Mexican, right? So he's basically telling him you're not a real Mexican. Okay, that's basically what he's saying, right? Um, you could make it what it is, okay, whatever. When Eric Morales was fighting Marco Antonio Barrera, okay, Marco Antonio Barrera called Morales a stupid Indian. Okay, if we translate it, called him an indio, right? And I don't see anything wrong with being a native, okay, but that's not what he meant, okay. He's trying to call him ignorant and stupid and beneath him because he's from Mexico City. I'm a lawyer from Mexico City. Like that, he thought he was above everybody. Okay, fucking Barrera. Okay, that dude. You can see the fucking nopal, like fucking the size of fucking a boulder and shit on his fucking forehead. Are you shitting me? All right, I'm gonna check the messages here really quick. Barrera comes from money. Somebody put in a chat. Yeah, Barrera. Yeah, you could say he comes from money. I don't give a fuck where he came from, to be honest with you. Right? Give a shit if he came from money or where the fuck. I don't give a shit where he came from. Right? But I don't know if people know. I fucking hate Barrera. Right? I was a huge Eric Morales fan. Right? But I didn't like Barrera. But I still respect the man in the ring. I in the ring, I can't take anything away from him. He's a phenomenal fighter. Okay, phenomenal fighter. But all right, Miss Doc, I went ahead. I did send you the link. There we go. If anybody else is interested in joining, let me know. You have to look. I have to kind of know who you are, though. Like I'm not gonna let anybody in, but just putting that out there. Marcus's dark skin doesn't get the credit he deserves, says Beast Text Mode 2000. I mean, that's a whole nother topic. I don't like to dive too much into that because too many ignorant people get involved in the conversation and it never ends pretty. Okay, but I will say that of course there's a reason, okay, behind that. But nonetheless, I think Marquez was like fine wine. I think he got more respect as he got older, and that Pacquiao victory definitely propelled him. Chavez Sr. was not beloved in Mexico like that. Okay. In fact, back in the day, right, you have to become the man in Mexico. Right?
How you doing, DStyle?
What's up, man? What's up?
Not a whole lot.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Trying to beat this humidity out here.
It's humid out there. I'm all about the dry heat over here.
Yeah. That's when I lived in Nevada. That was fantastic. This shit out here is like that movie The Abyss, where they had that liquid oxygen. It's fucking swimming through the air.
I hear you.
So what's going on? What do we got for you? What's the topic? What's the subject?
It's actually free room for whatever, but I'm currently talking about the elephant in the room. Whether you want to call it racial, ethnic, national pride, whatever you want to call it. that component is very real in boxing, and anybody who says it's not is being,
Yeah, denial's a river in Egypt.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's putting your head in the sand isn't going to help the situation. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that someone can't go too far. It doesn't mean that. You know what I mean?
Well, I
But,
mean, hey, look at soccer. That's like a huge component of soccer.
Yeah. But it's about what you do. So I mean, if we go way back, right? Emil Griffith, I mean, who, as many know, was bi, right? I believe it was bi, or was he?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Was he bi or just gay?
It was one or the other, because that's why he ended up killing what's his name.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. What's the opponent's name again? I don't even want to.
Was it Perret?
Perret or something like that. I kept thinking about Parrot, like
Yeah.
But he said some. He said some. Not I was gonna say racial. Some homophobic slurs.
Yeah, he kept hitting them with the homo terms and the clinches and shit.
Well, which I won't say, because I mean they'll flag me for that for sure. But
Jesus Christ! Yeah, the YouTube's on like a fucking flagging warpath, man.
No, but if you say that, you'll get flagged. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. Sorry, YouTube, don't do it. Don't do it.
I see comments all over YouTube. I see comment and people on videos use the N-word, and they'll stay up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. YouTube's really funny about the way they enforce the rules that they have.
But he said that the word, that Emil Griffith was called, and But Emil Griffith, he killed the dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so real. Like, that's a real shit. Like, holy shit. Like, so when Mikey calling Adrian Broner Donkey Kong, then in the sport of boxing, I mean, you're gonna get in the ring with a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what's in Mikey's head or heart. I don't know how deep it is, but and I don't know these people, so that's why I don't like to dive into that. But
isn't Mikey still in his 20s?
Yeah.
And this isn't to make it's not an excuse, but like I like to say, there's a difference between excuses and reasons, if you know what I mean. And it's been my observation, at least in the world of social media, boxing, right, that a lot of people from that demographic say some stupid shit like that or do stupid shit like that, and I really don't think they know the magnitude of what they're doing, because they weren't around when shit was way worse than it is now, if you get what I mean.
I got you.
Like this is one of the reasons I get irritated with it, is because I'm old enough to have seen things, progress for the better.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of shit is like
it's more covert now, but
Oh, it's not gone. I'm saying, you know what I mean. It's just, come on, it's better than it was in the 50s.
Yeah, I got you. But that's some real shit, though. I mean, you call me and I kill you. Like, that's insane. Like, you know what I mean? And but like Stafford saying that we never lost to a Mexican, like, then Mikey could go do something about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't offend me. Like,
that's just stating a fact. He hasn't lost to a Mexican yet. Doesn't mean he won't.
Even if it's insinuating, I'll never lose to a Mexican. Like, you know what I mean? It just, then we'll see. Then, like, they're gonna fight anyway. Like, it's an irrelevant thing.
That's like. I mean, I see. I don't like to. It's not for me to say. Right. Whether Mikey Garcia is offended by that, just like it's not for me to say whether Broner is offended by the Donkey Kong thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can say only for myself. Like when B-Hop said, "I'll never lose to a white boy," I didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, he was just, saying, I'm not gonna, of course, there's a racial component to that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you could tell how much boxing is foul when like that was not a big deal in the media. Like, but if a boxer said that shit in like the '60s and the '70s, I mean that shit's national news.
Oh, could you imagine? Could you imagine what would happen if Muhammad Ali cut them Rumble or Thrilla in Manila promos today?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it ain't fine, you know.
Yeah. I mean, Ali.
And I'm not saying that's even wrong. You know, I mean, you know, even I acknowledge that it's a good thing that we've become more sensible about these kind of things.
Oh, definitely.
To a degree.
Yeah, but like me, man, it's. I mean, like, look, growing up, and this is just the truth. Like, I grew up in a boxing. I grew up with a family that loved boxing. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, like, it's just the way when I grew up, like the thought of a Mexican fighter losing to a Puerto Rican, like that was a big deal. Like, it really was. And that might not make sense to people that are new to boxing. Like, so what if he's Puerto Rican? Like it's a real rivalry.
Yeah, so one could argue in a way. I mean, it's not much different from UK soccer fans, finding the thought of losing to Argentina unthinkable.
Right.
Or vice versa.
I mean, when Margarito beat Cotto, I mean, that was a big deal here. Like, you know what I mean? Of course, later that win was kind of tainted, obviously. But
well, I mean, Puerto Rico versus Mexico, that's one of the classic, rivalries in boxing history.
It is. I mean, just like USA versus UK is, right?
Yeah.
Just like African Americans versus Mexican fighters is.
Yeah.
Just like Mexican Americans versus Mexicans, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Roger Mayweather called himself the Mexican Assassin.
Yeah. I mean, hell, boxing not even that big in Brazil, but when Fritos was going to fight a Argentinian, it was a big deal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like it was a big deal. You know? Man. I mean, are there people that just have a hatred for the other side and all that? Sure, but overall, I honestly believe this. It's a rivalry, and rivalries are talking shit. Okay, rivalries are not. It doesn't mean you don't respect each other, but the respect's after the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, look at even just like the NFL. I mean, all kinds of different fan bases talk shit to each other. Bad shit.
I mean, it's a little different in the NFL because it's like it's a team, and
it's true. I'm just saying that I guess my point is this is, at least in America, it's always been a common component of sports and sports rivalries.
Yeah. But one way you can look at it is kind of like, like college football. You know what I mean?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, even more arguably more talk from those fan bases than in the pros.
Yep. And in boxing, since it's not like a 52-man team, like, you know what I mean? So people have to look for some type of, it's human nature. Look for some type of, whether it's identity or whatever it is. And, that's the fighters you go for. It's natural. Yeah. Like,
the individual nature of it kind of, I don't want to say magnifies, but it, what's the word here? The racial element is just kind of, more laid bare, like you say.
Like here's my thing. Mike Stafford saying like Broner will never lose to a Mexican. I mean, I guess if Mikey Garcia doesn't like hearing that, then he could do something about it. That's all I got to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that goes for both of them with the Donkey Kong thing and vice versa. They'll have a great chance to sort that shit out on Saturday.
We'll see how that fight goes. How do you think that fight's going to go?
Oh, Jesus.
Like me personally, and not to cut you off there, but personally, I'm a technical dude. Like I reached a point where I like breaking down fights on technicalities and in the ring. Because what really matters, like to me, all the talking at the end of the day is just noise. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh, Broner is a fucking befuddling fighter in some ways. Yeah. It's almost like almost literally every time I've said to myself, you know, okay, he finally gets it. Of course, he fucks up, and then pretty much every time I've said, okay, this, you know, it's over for him, and he's gonna get beat up, he pulls it out of his ass.
Oh, Broner?
Yeah.
Now, what's the time you thought he was gonna lose?
Alec Verdiev.
You thought he was gonna lose then? Okay.
Yeah. I thought Alec Verdiev had beat Jesse Vargas, got stiffed.
Yeah, yeah.
And fucking, you know, Bizarro Broner shows up, beats the shit out of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, fuck. And then he reverts to, you know, normal Broner form with the Theophane fight, loses his belt on the scale, yada yada.
He's definitely inconsistent.
It's like almost schizophrenic. You know what I mean? Or whatever the right word is.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me says it's like almost, you know, but based on, you know, the Broner pattern, it's almost he's due for a unexpected good performance. But you know.
Well, I guess my thing is, let's say he does have a great performance. Is it enough to beat Mikey Garcia?
Yes. I think he can. They're both capable. It's a good fight. I think that's all things, you know, being equal, like, i.e., Broner's not compromised physically by making the weight, etc. All things being equal, I always saw it as a pretty 50-50-ish fight.
Right. So if you were forced to pick, like gun in your head type, forced to pick, who do you think wins that fight?
I guess I'm gonna go with Broner because I'm good. Like you said in an earlier video, you know, under the assumption both of them bring their A game.
Yep.
Yeah, I lean ever so slightly towards Broner. I guess if you put a gun to my head.
Yeah, I think, you know, personally, I'm hoping for a great fight. That's what I want to see.
Me too.
You know,
me too.
I think since, I guess, the last war I saw anyway was like Klitschko versus Joshua. You know, so I'm really wanting to see an all-out, like I want to see an all-out war, like you know what I mean?
Well, I got to be honest.
Yeah.
To me, that's in a way one of, you know, that would favor Broner. I mean, I think if Mikey sticks to what I think would be the proper tactics and outboxes Broner, he should win. But if he tries to play a game of counterpunch with him, especially in the pocket, I think that's bad business. He's asking for trouble if he does that.
Yeah. No, I mean,
in my opinion, you know.
I think Mikey's going to keep it technical, and I think Robert Garcia is going to have a game plan, you know. So it's going to be, it's definitely going to be interesting. You know, me personally, I think it's going to be an interesting fight. It's going to be mostly tactical, I think, and
yeah.
I think what's going to be the downfall of Broner, I believe, is he takes too many breaks, and he doesn't. I mean, he can't. I don't know what it is. It's either A or B switch. Either he's defensive or he's offensive. You know, he can't quite be both at the same time. You know, like I think he waits till the opponent stops throwing, and then he kind of has his turn, and he throws way too many times. Throws just one punch at a time. And I don't know about you, I really hate when he goes up. Like, I really hate that. I don't like when fighters do that. I understand why they do it, but I hate that.
I was gonna say you must have hated karate classes if you ever took them.
Yeah. Well, the Kia. Well, I was in karate from 8 to 6 to 16.
Yeah. So yeah, I never really thought about that with boxers that do that, but yeah, I can see how that'd be irritating.
Although in my karate class, we were told to say yes. It sounded like, but it doesn't sound like that when you're doing it.
Yeah. Or when I took Shidoro, it was like, hut, hut, yeah, they all have different, methodologies.
Man, this is holy shit.
Supposedly, though, there is a biomechanical logic to it.
Yeah, I mean it's generates power. Also, you want to release some of the air from your stomach.
Yeah, something about like the lung impulsion adds to the the whole chain
It
of
kind
power.
of it tightens you up so in case you get hit in the body, you don't end up in the ground. But well, we'll see. I did want to ask you. Somebody said I'm not a fan of tennis. I've actually watched some tennis. It's kind of fun actually, but I just don't have time to watch. That's the thing. Like big tournaments and like they're playing every other week. I just don't got time for tennis. But why am I being asked about tennis? What's going on over
here? I was like, man, where'd that come from?
right. I guess because they go, I watch the women tennis players yell. They can yell all they want. Shit.
Yeah, I watched women tennis players too, but not necessarily the tennis.
When they serve, it's quite the serve.
What was that one chick that was notorious for that?
I don't remember.
That was one that was really bad. Alas, I'm not a tennis aficionado.
Well, no, I don't know. I know. Just really quick, I saw a YouTube video of like these dudes were playing tennis, and you could hear like a woman moaning, like
what?
A woman was moaning. They were like checking the speakers, like they didn't know where the sound was coming from, but apparently it was like across the lake, a couple was having sex, right? It was throwing the dudes off guard. Like a dude missed the serve. Like it's like what's a professional tennis player almost never does. One of them could have stopped cracking up. It was just hilarious. But
is that on YouTube?
Like Broner and Mikey's like ding ding, and then before you know it, in the speaker, just hear a woman moaning. Like what the? Maybe that's the way Connor could beat Floyd. Like what the fuck is that? And pa! Make sure you play this in the intercom as soon as the bell rings.
Yeah, that would be some fitting WWE type shit, wouldn't it?
Yeah, could you imagine? Like they have a Titantron or some shit, and
that or I'm half expecting, like Dana White to distract the ref while Connor hits him with a chair or something.
Oh man, they already got the WWE commentator on there, so Ronaldo, like is Floyd gonna blade his forehead before the shirt's shut? Or maybe Manny Pacquiao in the twist comes in and they throw the chair.
Oh, the Manny Pacquiao running.
Right?
Right. He comes out of the crowd.
I mean, and then Nate Diaz comes out. Who's he? Whose side is he on? And holy shit! If that were to happen, both sports are dead. Okay. R.I.P. Boxing and MMA, they're done. Right?
You're killing me. It's just too easy to visualize.
Right? I mean, it makes you wonder, like, what are people expecting to happen? What are your thoughts on this fight, brother?
What's that? I was going to say that or a ref bump. I'm waiting for the ref bump to happen.
Right? Like, Rev, like, I don't know. Like, Floyd knocks him down, then Dana jumps in the ropes and distracts the ref while he's trying to count to 10. And then Floyd goes to talk to the ref. Connor gets up, hits him from behind. Or Connor lands a kick, like when the ref's back his turn. I don't know. I mean, I just. Well, what are your thoughts on that fight, by the way?
That's my thoughts on that quote unquote fight.
Quote unquote, ha ha ha. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I actually, I actually kind of like Conor as a UFC fighter, but just stop it, Conor.
Could you imagine JR, calling
That's what they should. That's what I was going to say. They may as well have just got JR and King to announce it.
JR King, there you go.
Yeah.
Pacquiao runs in, hits Mayweather with a chair shot, while Dana's distracting, and then the commentary could be like, "He betrayed boxing! Oh my God, he betrayed boxing!" Right?
Yeah.
And of course, and then Jeff Horn runs in.
Oh no!
Jeff Horn! And Manny Pacquiao, of course, runs out of the ring. Jeff Horn's going after Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah. With the refs not looking, like you say, Conor hits Floyd with the kick, but then the refs,
Nate Diaz is in the ring.
The ref gets knocked out, but so he can't count Floyd out.
Yeah, and Nate's gonna put a chokehold on Conor while Floyd's punching him in the stomach or something.
Either that, or like you said, whose side he's on. All of a sudden, he's going to turn and hit Flair or Floyd with the. Oh, I said Flair. Hit Floyd with the chair.
Man, I wonder if they're gonna cut like those. You remember those old school WWF promos, like in the back?
Oh, when they show up in the little corner box.
They should have hired Mean Gene.
Oh, yes.
Isn't Mean Gene still alive? Is he alive?
I think he is.
What's going on here, gentlemen? Like,
who's the third man?
I mean, everybody's just jumping in. And did you see Porter's last? Did you see Sean Porter his promo?
Oh, his wannabe Macho Man promo.
Danny Garcia. Oh yeah! What the fuck is this?
Cherry picker.
I mean, but I was like, I really hope this is like just a joke. I hope this is like a new thing, because this fight, I don't know. I have a feeling, man. It's fighters are going to start thinking, hey, if I want to sell, I want to make that type of money. I got to start being a WWE superstar.
Oh man, I forgot his name now. There was a wrestler in TNA that did an amazing Flair impersonation.
Oh really?
Jay Lethal.
Woo!
Yeah. It's on YouTube. He comes out like in the suit and everything, and he does his Flair impersonation while Flair's in the ring, and so it's like Flair versus Flair.
Somebody put oh God, whenever I hear the name Jeff Horn, I'm gonna think of salty ass Atlas. Oh. So much salt came out of Atlas, I think you could. I mean, holy shit.
Speaking of salty, that's what the only people saltier than him were like Kovalev fans when he got stopped.
Oh,
that was like some Sodom and Gomorrah.
I mean, there was enough salt for a whole banquet, man. That's how much salt.
Yeah. It's like the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? When they're running and the angels tell them don't look back, and they all look back. Those guys got turned into pillars of salt.
Yep. So this fight's gonna be on Showtime, by the way. Broner versus Garcia.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on Showtime. How do you think it's gonna do viewership wise? Because it's competing against probably the biggest UFC fight in a long time. John Jones versus Cormier.
Do you think the audiences overlap that much?
I mean, it's going to have an effect. I mean, I'm not saying it's a lot.
I guess, it was an honest question. I never really thought about it.
To be honest, I mean, I'm going to watch both fights. You know what I mean? More than likely, and it would be smart of the UFC to do it. It's Cormier and John Jones will be after. That's usually how it happens, So.
I got you. Yeah. Well, you mean in terms of what time of day it takes place?
Yeah. So Usually, championship boxing ends a lot earlier than pay-per-view fights.
Yeah.
So, especially the UFC pay-per-view fights. I mean, there's no way to predict how fast the fights are going to go. But speaking of that, every time I talk about the length of pay-per-views, right? Every single time, it never fails. I always think about the Pacquiao De La Hoya pay-per-view. How like all the fights ended in the first, second round or something like that.
Who's on that undercard that you mentioned?
Victor Ortiz fought Sandura off the crowd, probably. I can't even remember the other fights. There were just a bunch of mismatches, man. And
Yeah.
but the worst part was, I mean, you would think, right? This is HBO. They got a boxing library. Give me some boxing knockout highlights. Give me highlights of De La Hoya, Pacquiao fights. Give me something. No, we just gotta listen to old ass Larry Merchant and Jim Lampley stare at the camera and talk for a fucking hour.
Oh, holy shit!
Well, we can't show the fight by contract until 11 p.m. Eastern time. All right, then shut the fuck up and show me some of the dark matches or something. I don't want to hear you talk.
The dark matches, yeah.
Don't they call them that in boxing, or that's just wrestling? I don't know.
Yeah, they call them something else, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
I think they're called the name escapes me. Prelims.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or is that MMA only? I mean, maybe I'm.
Preliminary matches. Yeah, I've heard people use that term. Like I remember a similar thing in one of Nassim Hamed's fights.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm trying to remember who won the ropes. One of the, I think it was Wilfredo Vasquez. But like one of the ropes, the turnbuckle just broke, got wrecked, and so they had to spend all this time, you know what I mean, fixing it or trying to fix it and all this crap. And yeah, they basically they went on and on about this and that and the third, forever and ever, and then they finally, after a bit, showed some highlights of the prelim fights, and one of them was the first Carl Thompson versus Chris Eubank Sr. fight, which is fantastic. And that's another thing. Yeah, it would have been nice if they'd just shown us that.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice if they just, gave us a great undercard, but, but yeah,
I didn't understand why that fight wasn't on the televised undercard. That was a fantastic fight.
Yeah. Sometimes they get you like that, man.
Yeah. I remember Larry Merchant say. I remember that clearly. I remember Larry Merchant saying, "I never liked Chris when they're showing the highlights. I never liked Chris Eubank. I always thought he was a phony, but he proved me wrong tonight."
One thing I'll say about the undercard of the Broner, I'm sorry, not the Mayweather McGregor fight. It was a great opportunity to put some great boxing fights on the undercard.
And boy, they didn't, did they?
I mean, you would think they would put some. I mean, they could have done USA versus Ireland or something. They could have had a theme.
Yeah,
There's going to be a lot of Irish fans there. They're going to be loud.
Yeah. I can guarantee you that they will be loud and they will also not be sober.
No. Is there anything like the Haddon fans? I'm kind of expecting the same thing.
But yeah, I come from an Irish family. We don't do sober.
I mean, those Haddon fans, man.
They were hardcore.
Those Haddon fans were so drunk. I mean, they kept singing after they got knocked out.
Yeah, I know.
There's only one. Dude, he already got knocked out. There's only one knocked out.
And then again, UK fans have always been way more hardcore than American fans, especially nowadays.
Yeah. Well, I think American fans are hard in their own way, It's not an American thing to be singing ole ole and, it's just because it's different, I guess. I think it's from football, from soccer. And it's a different culture, I guess,
Yeah. And also it's a much smaller place over there. which we even we as Americans, I think, sometimes forget how huge this place is. We expect or wish for uniformity across the whole country when that's in a way it's almost akin to expecting uniformity across all of Europe.
Yeah. What was the name of that small? He ended up getting knocked out late in his career, like twice actually. That same fighter. I'm trying to remember. What was the name of that Puerto Rican fighter that was undefeated for a while?
Javier Fortuna? You talking about recently?
No, not recently. He was kind of on top when Cotto was on top, like still undefeated.
Hmm.
I don't know, somebody in the chat could put the name in. The name escapes me, man. But he used to fight a lot in Puerto Rico, and I used to enjoy his fights because he was a very defensive fighter. He was a defensive-minded fighter, and it was just funny because he would make his opponents miss, and the crowd would go "Ole!" kind of like they do with the bull, right?
Yeah.
It's just they just find a way to make it fun, The Mexican fans, they're kind of. It's because of the soccer culture. They bring a lot of that to the boxing arena.
Yeah. That's why I've been saying for a while now. Boxing has been in a state of decline in America.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's doing at least just fine in Mexico. You know what I mean? Obviously, the UK is doing huge fucking shit.
Let me put it this way: when Deontay Wilder fought Bermane Stiverne, that was advertised as the heavyweight championship of the world. You know what I mean? That's how they advertise it. And when people were celebrating because they did, I think, like 2.5 million viewers or something, right?
Right.
And I get it. It was like the most watched televised fight of the year and stuff like that. But I don't think people have any idea how many people would watch the heavyweight championship of the world back in the day.
Oh, it was the shit.
It was Super Bowl level.
In this, I can't say it enough. In the 70s, as bizarre as it may sound to quote unquote younger people, boxing was bigger than football in this country. Bigger than the NBA too.
Yeah, it was big, man. I mean, the heavyweight championship of the world was. This is how they labeled it. The biggest prize in all of sports.
Yes.
That's just that. So the fact that 2.5 million people watch the fight advertised as the heavyweight championship of the world, and for those that say, because people knew it wasn't the real heavyweight championship, most people don't know that. Like most people don't know who Vladimir Klitschko is. I still remember stories of Vladimir what's his wife's name again?
Crap! It's on the tip of my tongue. I know she had.
I still remember watching shit. I remember I saw this thing on YouTube where they were I swear it was on E or some shit, and the reporters oh yeah, and she was with her big, handsome boyfriend who apparently is a really good boxer.
Apparently.
Yeah, I guess he's all right. Yeah. I guess he's all right. I guess.
Who would have known?
I asked her, "Is that your security guard?" She said, "No, I'm with him." And she told me all about him. And then they were interviewing her, right?
Could you imagine? I know it's Muhammad Ali. Okay, yes, but the idea of the heavyweight champion of the world in the 70s not being, not being completely. Absolutely recognizable, you know what I mean?
Right.
That kind of a situation would be just like Twilight Zone. I
mean, you think Vladimir Klitschko was asked to let's say the first time her agent met him, I'm pretty sure told him here, take these bags,
This guy's tiny.
Hey, this is a good pick. This guy right here. I mean, this is the type of bodyguards you need. You need big
Shot bags.
bodyguards that are scary and that can take bullets.
Yeah.
Good choice. Because it's like, oh yeah, and then they were interviewing her, and she's like, oh yeah, he's the heavyweight champion of the world, and the interviewer's like, oh, that's fascinating. Like,
wow,
so it's pretty tough, huh? Like,
what way to research your fucking interview subject.
I mean, they knew everything about her, right?
Yeah, I know, but I don't know, man. that kind of, I mean, I know, but I mean, that seems like a pretty significant detail about her husband. You know what I mean?
I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but it's a Hayden.
Yeah. Panettiere, something like that.
Panettiere, there you go, Panettiere. I mean, it's like more people know her than him, I mean, there was a lot of tabloids like, who's the new guy? She's like, like they didn't know who the fuck he was.
Yeah, and I see in the 70s it was the complete opposite.
I wouldn't be shocked if those headlines like on the Esquire magazine, all that shit. Like you won't believe who he is. Like just shit like that. Like, oh, he's the heavyweight champion of the world. Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's another completely, another dynamic that's changed utterly, completely from the 70s. But Muhammad Ali just openly, showed up in the Philippines with his side piece when he's married.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. There'd be a little bit different reaction nowadays.
Right? I mean, like if Vladimir Klitschko had a side piece, like nobody would know.
Yeah. And if he tried to roll like that, oh my god.
I mean,
not everyone, but there would be a lot of people being like, I don't know, they wouldn't be happy with it.
They just don't know. I think I saw an interview with Joe Rogan where he was in the same plane as Vladimir.
Yeah.
And that, like, he's like, oh, I was just sitting there, and there was this. He referred to him as a Russian, I believe, but he goes, this big, massive Russian gets in the plane and sits down, and like people notice him because he's big, but I mean, little did they know that was like the heavyweight champion of the world. Like, He's got to walk around with a belt or something. But then they'll probably confuse him with a wrestler.
Why was like, that's even mind blowing? Is it Vladimir using he doesn't have his own plane or some shit?
Well, some people are just stingy like that.
That was gonna be my next theory. Maybe he's one of them, penny pinchers or something.
It's kind of like Bill Gates, Whenever they ask him about his, why don't you like get a stylist for your hair or something? He's like,
that costs money.
You think I should be a billionaire if I spend money on dumb shit? You gotta be stingy. Yeah, why is he flying commercial? Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what? Was it at least first class? I have no idea.
I would like to think so, man.
Probably needs first class. That's too big for those little seats that place now.
Yeah. But can you imagine? That's another thing. Can you imagine? Like the 70s and earlier, heavyweights. 6'4" plus guys having to fly around on them planes that were back then.
Yeah,
that had to be uncomfortable as fuck, especially overseas flights.
Yep. Somebody's asking how to reply to somebody directly on the chat. I guess just say their name, like at username, I guess.
Oh, in the chat room. Yeah. You just use their name.
Just say their name. Just say, hey, you.
Or that.
Yeah. Are you a UFC fan, an MMA fan?
Yeah, but much more casually. I was a bit more deeply into it back in the Spider Silva in his prime, Chuck Liddell, Rampage Jackson in his prime, that kind of time period. And I think the cutoff point for me, for whatever reason, it was just kind of happened, I kind of tuned out, phased out of it for whatever reason after the Silva Sonnen rematch.
Because of that fight, or no reason?
No. Just it just kind of was just the way it went.
Okay.
Not because of the fight. It was just for whatever reason life happens, blah blah blah. And then I just kind of recently gotten back into it a bit.
I remember really first, like me, the first time I saw UFC was on a VHS tape.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and it was at my uncle's house.
It was the first one I saw was I don't know which one it was, but it was the one where Keith Hackney fought that giant sumo guy and broke every hand in his bone in his hand, beating, knocking him out.
I remember that. It was karate chopping him. Yeah.
Yeah, and they showed dude. It was so sick when they showed the slow mo replay, and you could see his hand turn into this just bag of shattered bones.
There was just something interesting to me anyway about the early UFCs. It's funny because if I go back and I watch them, they just have a different feeling.
Oh, totally. Yeah, there's it was it was both interesting and it had a bit of that car crash thing to it too.
Yeah. Because I'm not saying none of them were athletic, but it wasn't like an athletic competition.
And they had some crazy dudes back then, man. Like that Chemo. Remember Chemo?
Yeah.
Carrying, not just carrying a cross, but full on, you know what I mean? But that shit, how much do you think that thing weighed?
Oh, I have no idea. He probably was better off not carrying that shit.
Yeah, put it that way, yeah.
That probably made the difference in the fight. But that's the thing. These guys were... it just had a different feeling, man. It's hard to explain. It really is. But it had that when you watch a street fight in the bar feeling.
Well, yeah. Because for one thing, there was almost just pretty much zero consideration for weight classes or anything like that.
No, there was no.
Yeah. That's why you had Hackney versus the sumo.
Yeah, exactly. But the sumo is not really equipped to fight like that. But there was just something about to me it was fascinating.
Yeah, it was
because everybody really did want to see the kung fu guy fight the karate guy. People really did want to see that.
Yeah. Anybody with even even just a casual interest in martial arts wanted to see that kind of stuff.
To me, MMA is starting to become it's kind of like boxing is, right? At this point, it's reaching that point where it's going to be, trying to find a word for it, but
at a crossroads.
Not a crossroads. I'm trying to get to where it's every fight is going to. This is going to be stylistically different, but they're all going to be the same. Refined. It's becoming,
in terms of everybody having sort of an all-around, set of skills.
Yeah, it's becoming so refined that what made it interesting for me is gone.
Yeah, in a way, it's almost become a bit more vanilla, hasn't it?
And I'm not even saying there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, and it's also not like there's not different styles.
That experience, me, I remember growing up watching MMA, I wanted to see, me, I always liked the stand-up guys, right?
Yeah.
Nothing against Hoist, but I fucking hated that he took guys down and choked them out, but I wanted to see somebody beat him up standing. I wanted to see somebody catch him and knock him out. You know what I mean? But.
Well, Prime Hoist, to his credit, though, I mean, if nothing else, yes, he was fighting huge dudes.
Yeah.
And that was his style. He was a submission dude.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like I said, he did what he had to do, but.
And no, it wasn't always the most, appealing thing, especially for a casual fan, I'm sure. or just
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Plus, I was young, and like there was, especially growing up watching boxing, there was like there was just a certain way I was used to seeing fights. Even in the movies, like martial arts movies, I associated martial arts with like Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, and you know what I mean. Like I grew up doing karate, like that's what I grew up, and so when I just saw this guy take him down, I wasn't used to it.
Yep. Like you're saying, nowadays, like even though I mean there are still guys that are strikers and wrestlers, but the striker has to have at least a degree of ground game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Even if it's just enough to stuff takedowns.
Yeah,
and the wrestlers have to have a degree of stand up. etc.
Because now it feels like a sport. It feels like boxing now. You know what I mean? Like that's the feeling I get. It's a sport. It has that sport feeling.
Well, it's supposed to be, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. But it was not a sport when it started. What made it interesting to me, like
what do you mean when you say it wasn't a sport?
Well, it's to me like the guys participating in it weren't super athletes. You know what I mean? They were what at the time were the people that actually practiced the martial arts. I'm not saying great athletes never practice martial arts, but it's what made it interesting to me was that it didn't really come down to who was more athletic because that plays a big role now in MMA. It just I don't know.
Well, yeah, because the skill sets are more similar nowadays.
Yeah. And then the brutality of it. I mean, it was just fucking brutal. Like,
yeah.
It just, I don't know. It kind of like this is the way it felt. It felt like an ordinary dude could like learn some of that shit and participate in the UFC. That's how it felt.
If I remember right, like some like late replacement guy won one of the early UFCs.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Against the dude that did the whole because Hoyce beat Chemo, but he was way too exhausted to go back out.
Yeah. Oh, that's
the guy that he was going to face next.
Yeah.
I remember when Hoyce he was too out of it to fight, and so they I guess forfeited or whatever. And the dude started celebrating like he just beat Hoyce.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he I think didn't he make at least he even tried to make the ring walk and like they practically had to carry him in.
Yeah. And the brother stopped the fight or whatever, and then but that same guy though, I remember he said he built that was the interesting part. Like everyone was trying to figure shit out, like
Yeah.
Like, I just I've been doing karate for so long, but I built a ground system that can defeat the Gracie. Like it was just it was just interesting, and like is
it
that
was
true?
A lot, there was a lot more rock paper scissors, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Stylistically.
And then I remember Ken Shamrock talked about this. He's like there was no such thing as let me go to this camp or like this. There was no one around to help you prepare for Hoyce Gracie. Like there was no like I mean there probably was like in Brazil and stuff, but at the time it's one of those like today, right? Like if you want to become an MMA fighter, you know how to start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go to your local MMA gym, you could start there, kind of like boxing. You know what I mean? You go to your boxing gym. Back in the day, I mean, the amount of people that competed in martial arts competition was a very small percentage of the public. As far as that serious.
Yep, and a lot of those styles or schools thereof, albeit not nearly as bad as it was, way back in ancient times and shit. But they even then, and they were still pretty protective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
of the their secrets, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't just roll up on Hoist and be like, "Hey, show me some Brazilian jiu-jitsu."
Yeah, I mean they had a plan, that they wanted to prove that compared to everybody that their style was superior in a street fight.
Yeah, and
And
and and that like you could overcome like being undersized, etc. with it.
yeah, I mean that was actually like a lot of people don't even know that, but that's actually the Hoist was the smallest of the Gracie clan.
Yeah, I
So
didn't know. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that. There's a bunch
there
of them too.
was, I mean, there was some bigger, you could even say better members of like Hicks and Gracie is far better than Hoist. And
Certainly more well-rounded.
yeah, and stronger too. You know, but they wanted Hoist because he was I mean, he's not short. I think he's like 6'1", I think. So he's not a short guy, but he's
But
strong.
he certainly doesn't look like he doesn't look like some dude you expect to be whooping ass.
I mean, let me put it because I was talking about the VHS stuff, right? I remember I believe it was the first fight I ever saw, if I remember correctly, was when that sumo dude like charged. I think it was a kickboxer, and then he tripped, and then the kickboxer kicked him in the mouth.
Okay, yeah.
And then the ref didn't know what like he stopped it, but like he wasn't supposed to, and everybody was like, "What the fuck's going on?"
No, the stoppages back then were so much different, so different.
Yeah, and then the dude had like you could see like they zoomed into his foot, and you could see like the fucking mark from the tooth. It was fucking disgusting. I mean, holy shit! And they stopped the fight. Like they stopped the fight, and I mean he was all bloodied up, and one kick, dude. Like holy shit. I think it was a Savat guy or some shit. So I'm thinking, okay.
I'm pretty sure they banned those now, haven't they? Don't they call them soccer kicks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't kick it down the opponent, no. That's not good. And then I mean I'm shocked they didn't have mouth guards. Like they could have.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It was all a process. But I just remember like watching Ken Shamrock, big massive dude, was definitely juiced up back then.
Crazy talky stuff.
but I remember like my uncle was like, "Oh, wait till you see Hoist Gracie," right? I swear to God, I thought a big motherfucker was gonna come out, like a big, bulked up.
Oh, I see. Yeah. No.
Like bigger than Shamrock, a bigger, badder dude. Like I was picturing Brock Lesnar before I even knew Brock Lesnar existed. I was like, oh, Hoist, all right. And then I thought that was Hoist's opponent when he came out. Like, oh, this guy's gonna get fucked up. Like, what the hell? Oh no, that's Hoist. I'm like, what? And then I saw a dude come out with one glove. I was like, oh well,
Oh yeah. I remember that too. I will never. What the fuck was up with that?
I don't know. I mean, it was experiment. It's hindsight's 2020. You know what I mean?
I just mean, what was the dude's logic?
His logic was, I'm gonna keep him at bay. He explained his logic actually. He said, I was planning to jab the hell out of him, but I don't want to break my hand.
Okay.
So he just wrapped their hands. I mean, I don't know. They didn't let him wrap his hands.
I don't know. I don't know. My best guess, as I recall at the time, was that he had an injured hand at the time or something.
And then, like, I guess he was actually planning to win the whole tournament. You know what I mean?
Wow. Oh man.
Strangely enough, I think Art Jimerson would have done, aside from Shamrock and aside from Hoyes, he would have probably beaten that sumo guy. He would probably there's some dudes there I think he would have beat, personally. But
Art Jimerson.
Yeah. But Hoist took him down. Till this day, Hoist swears he was a threat to. Like, it's insane.
Yeah. Hoist is one of those irrational confidence type guys.
Oh yeah, you don't think he was dangerous? I mean, one punch from him, he could have knocked me out. Like, oh come on. I mean, probably. I don't know. But that's a good mindset to have, I guess. Just take him down.
Yeah, I remember. I can't remember who. Well, it seemed like several Hoist fights would basically, he looked like he's getting his ass kicked. You know what I mean? For however long, and then all of a sudden the guy starts tapping out, even though he's on top.
Well, that's because people didn't know anything about the guard.
Yep.
Like they didn't know he was in control, even though he's in the bottom.
Yep, exactly.
Its perception is, hey, the dude's on top. Like before anybody knew about the guard, and I mean, till this day, if you see a fight in the street, the dude's on top. 9 out of 10 times, he's the one winning, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, if anything, he's lucky to fucking not get killed or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're fighting in a parking lot, you know what I mean? Getting your head bounced off the pavement with punches and shit. Like,
yeah.
Bad shit happens.
I still remember, man. I thought Hoist was the man, though. Like I still do. I think I was impressed with what not any ordinary people would just go there, fight 3 dudes in one night.
Yeah, that's the thing that's the biggest, hugest difference is those guys. Yeah, they were fighting multiple fights in one night.
The strategy was different. There was no rounds, which is crazy. Like I never understood what their logic was with no time limit, because it's a 3-hour pay-per-view. Like you don't have all day. What are you guys thinking? Like, what if a fight goes 2 hours or something?
I think it was part of the whole no holds barred, thing they were trying to promote it as.
I mean, at least 30 minutes, and from there you pick a winner, I guess. I personally, did you see that first Shamrock fight with the Hoist?
I'm pretty sure. I'm almost certain I saw, but
a minute long.
Is that all it took?
A minute and a half, 2 minutes, something like that.
I remember. I distinctly recall Shamrock being extremely irritated.
Well, he says that Hoist used the gi to choke him out. But
wasn't that legal back then? That was part of his thing. He wore the gi was part of his game.
But he was mad because they told him he couldn't wear the wrestling shoes. So.
Well, what was he gonna do? Choke him out with the wrestling shoes? Or?
It was.
I mean, you're not wrong. He should have been allowed to use that. I don't see why not.
For traction, you know what I mean? Because back in those days, I mean, the octagon was there was a lot of give to it.
Okay.
I mean, there's still people to this day that say that thing was designed for the Gracies to win.
Well, yeah, in a way, it was. They were. They wanted to promote their martial art form, and so they could open schools of it and blah blah. And to a degree, it worked.
Oh yeah. But I
mean, they sold all. I mean, I know if nothing else, they sold a shitload of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, in instruction vids and shit like that.
Yeah. Who do you think of all the boxers of the last 20 years? Well, let's say 30 years. The last 30 years. Who do you think would have transitioned well into MMA? Out of all the boxers.
Oh, jeez. Last 30 years. Let's see. So we're talking 97 onward.
Yeah, I mean, you could go more back if you want. I mean, we're not going to get too strict.
If you wanted to go, if you went a little bit, not too much, yeah, about a little
farther back.
87. Mike Tyson.
87 would be 30.
What about Mike Tyson?
You think Mike Tyson would have had a good transition?
Given depending on how, as long as he didn't start too late in his life.
Yeah.
Took the proper time.
I wonder if Tyson would end up biting somebody's nose off or some shit.
Yeah, that was that. It wasn't that like one of the they had I remember it would seem like 3 rules. It was like no biting, no eye gouging,
fish hooking,
and something else.
Yeah, fish hooking, eye poking, and biting. Yeah.
Everything
and another one was which a lot of martial arts didn't like, but finger manipulation. You couldn't like.
Oh, you couldn't snap fingers.
Yeah, you couldn't do that.
No thumb locks.
No, no thumb locks. No breaking fingers. No, none of that. You know.
Well, and there is a nasty pressure point. You probably know this, between your thumb and forefinger.
Yeah. Somebody put Roy Jones, and I kind of agree with that.
Oh yeah, with his athletic gifts, especially if he'd started, you know what I mean, just like from the jump, being in that sport.
He would have been a beast. He was just a natural athlete, you know.
Yep.
What about a guy like Lennox Lewis or something? Too tall.
My knee-jerk reaction was too slow, but I don't even know if slow is the right word for it.
I mean, Lewis was explosive, man.
You know? No, he had hand speed. I guess maybe I'm thinking more, you know, just moving around and stuff.
I mean,
also, stamina is always tough for guys once they get beyond that. About, in my opinion, anyways, once you get about past 6'6", especially.
Yeah,
it gets a lot tougher.
You know Jeremy Half Amazing Williams.
Half Man, I definitely recognize the name.
Yeah, he got knocked out by Sam Peter.
Oh, okay.
That's how everybody knows him. Like this. It's a horrible way to be known, but you know, Peter knocked his lights out.
Well, no shame in getting sparked out by Peter. To be fair, right?
Yeah.
If he could do anything, he could fucking punch.
Yeah, he was actually, I mean, you know, solid contender in boxing, but he also he was a judoka, right? He had a judo background.
Oh, okay.
Right. He went 5-0 in MMA.
I'll be damned.
You never hear about that guy.
You know? No, you don't. I never knew that. Yeah, all you ever hear about is James Toney getting beat up and shit like that.
And it's crazy because he actually got taken down, but he got back up and he knew what to do. But that always, like, looking at the success that he had, and look, he never beat any world beaters, but he got into it too late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was already told then, so he retired from boxing and fighting in general. But he did go 5-0. You know, but what that did show me is that, yeah, if a boxer has some type of background and whatever, you know, like it's, and you equate that with their hands, yeah, they could be a fucking threat. You know, it's not like they can't learn this shit. You know, like it's this stuff you can actually learn this shit. You know, so, and a lot of MMA fighters have.
Careful now! You're gonna get some of these, you know, Conor McGregor fanboy idiots thinking the wrong thing.
Conor McGregor is a great example. I mean, Conor McGregor was an amateur boxer that decided to go to MMA.
No, but I mean, but it's not gonna be the same when he tries to fight Floyd.
No, well, he's gonna get his ass beat. You know?
yeah, he's good. That dude is at best he's getting 120.
Yeah. Oh, somebody's talking about follow me on Instagram and all that shit.
I'm too old for that shit. Fuck all that, man.
Like, follow me on Instagram.
Even Twitter, I can't help but just look at it as like and think, why would I want, like, you know what I mean, 100 random comments from people I don't know every day.
Right. Well, man, it's do you think that in the United States, especially with the younger generation, that a lot of kids that would have, if it didn't exist, would have gone to boxing? Like if MMA did not exist, you think it's like, let me rephrase that. You think mixed martial arts stole a lot of future talent from boxing?
I'm not sure about a lot, but I'm sure it took some. But yep. I still think sports like you know, NFL, NBA, and the like take more
from the heavyweight division. There's no doubt.
Especially, right. Yeah.
That is by far the downfall of the heavyweight division in the U.S.
I think another problem boxing has in this era and time is it's just there's just the information and all that about, you know what I mean, that just how bad shit can be for boxers after they retire.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just too readily available, too graphic for, kids and up and coming athletes to not be aware of, or much less expect them to ignore.
Yeah, it's an interesting take.
I mean, how can you blame, you know what I mean, dudes for, looking at how Ali ended up and a whole bunch of others and being like, nah, I don't want to be, you know what I mean?
Right? Yeah. I mean, you think NFL football would have that effect in the future too, though? Because there seems to be a lot of
the CTE
stories,
thing, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Movies coming out about it. I mean, it's.
I think it could over time, if you know what I mean. If we start seeing more and more, like what was it, Mike Webster, the former Steelers center.
Yep.
That was a horrific case. But once we start having all kinds of like YouTube vids of, you know what I mean, just graphically showing what how these guys end up, I think it'll have more and more an effect as that goes on.
You know what's crazy is that in the heavyweight division, I mean, it's almost like it happened overnight. The fall, because the '90s was great,
Pretty much after Lewis retired was probably the very cutoff point.
But I still remember, like, as a kid, right? Just expecting like another generation, like, you know what I mean? Like, I never thought, like, okay, that's it. Like, oh yeah, Tony Thompson. Like, I didn't think that there would be a day a guy like Tony Thompson would be the best heavyweight for a while in the U.S.
Yeah, that kind of sums it up. That does sum it up. That sums it up.
One word, Tony Thompson.
Yeah.
I never thought that. That caught me. Like, it's like, think about it. Like, the '90s was booming. Think of all the names. I mean, it's
Holyfield and Moore and Old Man George, Tyson,
right? Like,
even some more, guys on the outer edges like Razor Ruddock and guys shit. And so on.
Like, you know what I would do to have a Razor Ruddock today?
that kind of says something too. No knock on him. Decent fighter, good fighter. Had those two Tyson fights. I enjoyed the hell out of those.
Yeah, those were great fights. But I mean, what about that? Was that guy that went the distance with Tyson?
Bone Crusher, and so did Tony Tucker.
No, before that.
Before Tony Tucker,
Tillman, or what the hell was his name?
Not Tillman. Tillman got knocked the fuck out. Although I think Tillman beat him in the amateurs. Oh shit! Bone Crusher Smith took him the distance.
It could be Bone Crusher Smith.
Yeah, mostly by hugging.
I just remember that he went the distance, and it was like a big deal. Even though he was getting his ass whooped, but it was a big deal. The commentators like, oh, the heart. Oh, it's a miracle that he made it the distance. The shit like that. But I don't know, man. I just remember. What's Tommy
Morrison?
Not Gunn. I was gonna say Tommy Gunn.
Yeah.
Same difference, but Tommy Morrison, Ray Mercer. I mean, it's just, it was stacked. It was stacked, and then it's like, okay, what happened to the next wave of heavyweights? It just kind of stopped. It just all of a sudden it just stopped. Like cold turkey. They were gone.
Well, I mean, let's see here. We saw.
By the way, I forget other names like Shannon Briggs.
Yep. Very good fighter before he got his entire purse beat out of him by Vitali.
Like, I remember, like, when James Toney moved to heavyweight and beat Evander Holyfield.
Yep. Beat Saeem Rahman once too, and drew with him. Something like that.
Didn't it be? Which is the fight that got called a no contest even after he won? Is that Ruiz?
I think I think it was Ruiz.
Yeah, but I mean, I just remember thinking like, really, James Toney, like all fat, like moved up, and like he's the top contender in this division. And I love James Toney.
Me
but,
too.
I
Me
mean,
too. Well,
there's no way he would be competing with the dudes in the '90s. You know what I mean?
But he did.
Well, he did, like when they were old, like.
I don't know, man. Stopping Holyfield is still incredibly impressive to me.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Holyfield was still solid at that point. You know what I mean? But he wasn't in his prime.
But he was still solid, and he was fighting a middleweight, no matter how good of a middleweight he was.
Yeah.
And Hasim Rahman was not on, you know what I mean, on the downside. Not saying he was anywhere as good as Vander Holyfield, but he was still a fucking 6'5", you know what I mean? Very capable heavyweight.
I mean, look, I remember when Hasim Rahman knocked out Lennox Lewis the first time. In the first fight, that is. Yep. There was no second time.
Yeah.
It was him the second time. By the way Lewis knocked him out was even worse. He got him back.
Oh yeah.
But Rahman, I remember like he went to the Jay Leno show. It was a big deal, like when he won.
Yep.
I remember like watching ESPN and being like, oh yeah, I mean, this is gonna change his life. It was like life changing when he won the heavyweight championship. It's Rahman's gonna be fighting for tens of millions of dollars now. I mean, when you win this title, it changes your life. You know what I mean?
See, that's a good point. See, yeah, even as recently as then, being a heavyweight champion was a big deal.
Yeah, and I remember Jay Leno, and I remember him interviewing Rahman, and he was like, "Hey, I love Lennox Lewis, but I'm glad that the heavyweight championship is back where it belongs in the USA." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that mattered. Like now it doesn't even matter.
You're not. I don't think you're going to see. I mean, I could be wrong because I don't really watch TV like that anymore. But I'm going to speculate and say we haven't seen like Anthony Joshua, or much less Joseph Parker, or even Wilder on like, you know what I mean, the Late Late Show or whatever. Whoever's doing it nowadays.
I mean, they can, but it's going to be another guest, It's not going to be something like, I remember Vladimir Klitschko went on Conan O'Brien a couple times.
Yeah, but half the crowd even know who he was.
Well, the way he had to announce him as heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah. But no, I know. But I mean, before, you know what I'm saying.
Right. Like, so the heavyweight champion of the world is here. There's like 30-second pause, and then, oh.
Yeah.
oh shit! Like, wow! Like, oh, that's a big dude. Like, what the fuck? But it's I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean,
that's why they have the old saying: the belts don't make the fighters make the belts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back in the day, just having that heavyweight title, I mean.
Yeah, it was, but in at least in part, it was the richest prize in sports because of the dudes that had held it.
Yeah, I guess
Sonny Liston, and you know what I mean, Foreman, Frazier, and so on.
It's just there was never that wave, man. Like that wave of the next generation of heavyweights.
Oh yeah, Well, I was saying, I think at least what part of it was, like you said, just that generation getting to watch in such graphic details the decline of a lot of fighters, like a Riddick Bowe, for instance. That was bad. That was bad. After the Galata fights,
Yeah.
Mildred Taylor, after Chavez won. I could probably think of a bunch. I'm sure you probably think of even more. But that you get my point.
Yeah, because even like in the 50s, 60s, they would broadcast the fights.
Yeah, and I mean, the fighters knew about it.
There was no such thing as like tonight on 2020, we're gonna go over fighters that are suffering from Alzheimer's. Like what? Like.
Yeah, and I mean, much less like YouTube, montages of badly shot fighters, which I'm sure are out there, things like that.
I mean, the pugilistic dementia has been around for a long time, and doctors have known about it for a long time.
Yeah,
but
they
it wasn't
didn't. Yeah,
there. Like, it wasn't in your face.
exactly, and so easily the information wasn't so right at everybody's fingertips. So like you said.
Yeah, so that it just stopped. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think yeah, like you say, the information it's just too graphic and too widely available to not have some impact. You know what I mean on the number of people that say that may have would have gone into it otherwise that are like no, I think I'll try baseball.
right? Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do?
But in saying that, it is still in at least in my opinion, one of the better, if not one of the best, or most effective things for changing the lives of kids that otherwise were going to be doomed.
Well, here's the thing I was gonna say. So I understand that boxing is dangerous and all that, right? But I mean, there's kids out there that aren't doing anything with their lives. So like
Oh yeah,
and
exactly.
and I don't know, like a boxing gym around the corner would do a lot of good.
Yeah,
And
because even still today, the ones that are we do some good.
yeah. And the thing with boxing, I mean, it's always been a poor man's sport, you know,
Yep.
because it's not that expensive to train in boxing, you know. So it's like boxing gyms were never that expensive to join, and mixed martial arts gyms kind of are for whatever reason. I imagine because of all the different coaches you need and all that.
Yeah.
So, um,
Not nearly as much equipment involved, like football, for instance.
yeah. I mean, if there was always like like I remember when MMA was first rising up, like it's changing now, but when it was first coming up, there was a good amount of fighters in the UFC that went to college because there were wrestlers in college and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like college educated, and like I'm not saying no boxers ever went to college, but then that was a rare story, Like, it's
Yeah,
just
there was a period where that style was dominant in UFC with the Matt Hugheses and so on.
yeah, and so that's why I think at first I don't think it was taking anything away from boxing talent wise, because it was targeting a demographic and a class that was different, that would have never gone to boxing, right?
Yeah.
Like those collegiate wrestlers, like, since I'm not saying no collegiate wrestler ever tried boxing, but
The skill set doesn't exactly translate easily, I don't think.
yeah, but now it's I'm seeing it, man. Like here, there's more MMA gyms in this city than boxing gyms.
Yep.
And
Another thing, I'm pretty sure we still don't have it because that we used to have was the prison boxing system.
they don't have that anymore.
I know it may have been brought back. I don't know, but last I heard, no, that was that was one thing. Like I remember Bernard Hopkins campaigning for it to be brought back.
Okay.
What
like
about
in the
Ron Lyle
military?
came with. I'm pretty sure they still have it.
Okay. Because I remember watching this is years ago, with like Navy versus Army, like boxing matches and stuff.
Yeah. I'm almost. If they don't, then they only got rid of it recently. But yeah, I remember hearing and reading that the prison boxing system, especially back in the 70s, that was out of all the different like prison inmate programs available.
Yep.
That one had the most positive effect on recidivism rates.
Okay.
Which I know sounds a bit counterintuitive,
Yeah,
but I think when you really, in a way it's not, because it wasn't just like they didn't just hand them some gloves and go, there's a ring. It was a very
Yeah.
structured, you know what I mean, with professional trainers and all that. Ron Lyle came out of the prison boxing system.
I mean, I wouldn't even mind um, even if they are in prison, you know what I mean? Like,
They
let
did it.
them
Yeah,
fight.
they had
Let
fight.
them
Yeah,
fight the ranks.
they had fights in prisons.
No, but I'm talking like let them fight like outside the prison.
Oh,
They
I
can get
get you.
escorted
I
and all
get you.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why
But yeah,
not?
it was very effective against recidivism, in my opinion, because of the discipline it forces you to learn.
Was Tyson even allowed to box in prison? Do you know?
I have no idea. I have no
Was
idea.
he was he too good to be in those boxings?
Yeah, he might not have. Yeah, even if it was
I,
available. I don't think.
I
I
want to
don't think
get
it
in
was
there,
around.
Warren. I want to get into boxing. Like, no, Tyson, you're gonna kill him. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't think we had. I don't think we had a boxing prison system by then.
Oh
I
no,
could be
okay.
wrong though. I could be wrong. I just know because I had to get into arguments with people that like tried to tell me, or oh, the 70s heavyweights weren't that great. Ron Lyle started boxing at age 30, and it's like, no, you fucking idiot. No, you fucking idiot. He was for years he was learning in the prison boxing system before he got out.
Yeah, Bernard Hopkins. That is a movie waiting to happen.
Oh,
Right?
for sure.
Just picture him like, in the movie, like leaving, and then one of the guards, as he's leaving the prison, tells him, "You'll be back."
Yeah.
And he just looks at him, just looks away. Like that's a director could capture something like that.
Yeah. But
But
B Hop's gonna make him not show anything to talk about the Joe Smith fight though.
right. Like, we're not gonna even talk about that fight. We're gonna end it like right at when he beat Pascal.
That's pretty much that would be par for the course. It's Hollywood for you.
There you go. Beat Pascal. Okay, over. And they're gonna make Pascal look like the most devastating fighter ever.
Yeah.
I will say he did break the record, right, for the oldest or whatever. He did break Foreman's record.
Oldest boxer to win a title.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it was when he
or
beat
to
Cloud.
defend it. I don't remember if it was to win it or to defend it.
I think it was when he beat Tavares Cloud.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that was interesting, man. I really I just saw the name, by the way. Blood put the name Tillis.
James Quick Tillis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that guy. Oh yeah. He went the distance with Tyson.
Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking about.
He actually had some good rounds too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tillis could fight. His problem was he was allergic to almost everything that was like the staples of the boxer's diet. Like eggs, wheat,
Oh, jeez. Kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you, dude. And he always had trouble with stamina because of it. I remember,
Wow.
I remember when he fought. What the hell's his name? Knocked out. I'm forgetting the names left and right here now. But he knocked out Big John Tate.
Yeah.
What was his name? Hercules Mike Weaver. When Tillis fought Mike Weaver for the WBA heavyweight title, and he was schooling him for the first half of the fight, and then he started to gas, and Angela Dundee.
Pascal.
Yeah, Angela Dundee was screaming at him in the corners. Go southpaw. Every time you go southpaw, you completely fox him, but the guy was just out of energy.
Wow. Yeah, you got to go 12, man. Like that's.
Yeah. I think it was 15 still back then. It was 15 still for that fight.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Last one, that was 88, I believe, was the last year of the 15-round fight. The last one in North America, as I recall, was Paez versus Calvin Gross.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy was a character. That guy was a heck of a character.
I just know that because my uncle never gets tired of saying that. But
What's that?
You know, at the last 15-round fight.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
But he's one of those uncles that forgets he's already told me. They're like fucking.
Yeah, I do that shit too. Yeah, I can never remember who I've told what stories how many times.
So I just given up saying, oh yeah, you've told me before. Like it's who? Pies. Oh, all right. Like,
yeah.
I didn't even know it was true. I'm glad you confirmed it. I never even looked it up. Like I was just like, all right.
Yep, and his cut man was funny too because he was this bald guy. He'd always use electrical tape to mirror whatever hairstyle Paez brought to the ring.
Okay.
You know, he'd always do crazy shit with his hair. So, like, yeah, his cut man would, like, basically, his bald-ass cut man would use electric tape to, like, you know what I mean? Would create the same, you know, design on his head.
Wow.
Yeah, funny shit.
Pies was a character, man.
Yeah.
He was a character. I always enjoyed watching his fights.
Me too. That dude could punch.
Like I would go with my my dad to some. I don't see them around anymore, but I don't know. Like there used to be these dudes that would sell like fruits and stuff on the side of the road or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know what you call them or whatever, but it's I don't see them anymore. But it's those guy had like a stand on the side of the road where he sold fruit and stuff. And he had a TV set up there and everything. And I would go with my dad, and he would buy fruits from him, and then we would watch the Pies fights.
Right on.
On Telemundo.
Yep.
Or Azteca. I forgot which one, but that was always fun. And then my grandfather, he would always watch like the fights on Azteca.
Yeah.
And it was sponsored by Tecate. Right. And it was just crazy, man. Like it's you didn't even have to know who these guys were, but like every other fight was a war, you know.
Yeah.
But I just remember it's just funny because he would refer to it as oh yeah, Tecate's gonna put on the fights, you know, like. Oh, did you watch the Tecate fights? Like, yeah, I watched the Tecate fights.
I get you.
I don't know. Yeah. The promoter was the sponsor.
The sponsor, right? Exactly. Yeah. Me neither. But that's one of those things you just better not worth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just not worth. Just let him have it. Keep it moving.
You know, I think speaking of my grandfather, I think one of the problems with new boxing fans. Okay, not that there's a problem with you guys, right? There's nothing wrong with you, but
some of you,
some of you maybe. But I think one of the issues, to me anyway, is like me, my perspective on boxing, is very different than someone who got into boxing because they watched like I've heard people say, "Oh, I really got into boxing because I was watching HBO and I saw Gotti Ward go at it, or I saw Castillo Corrales," which is great. I mean, I think boxing should do more of that. But like me, I was brought up with boxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. And NFL boxing, a bit of NBA, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's different if you grew up watching NFL with your family, right?
Yeah.
Than if you got into it in your late teens because your friends were watching it. It's different.
Yeah. Like I can remember, you know, going through the process, you know, as a little kid, just kind of watching it with my dad and my grandfather. And then eventually they showed me how to score a fight, you know what I mean? And all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, me, like at a very young age, my grandfather would explain the styles to me in boxing. You know what I mean? So
right on. Mm-hmm.
So this is in Spanish, but it was, you know, I just remember he'll be like el fajador, which is basically, you know, like the brawler,
mm-hmm.
El boxeador, which is like the boxer, and
yeah.
just he kind of explained all these things to me, you know, at a very young age, and I got it, you know what I mean? And I think looking at fights from that perspective is different than someone who looks at boxing and says, I just come on, just trade, or I don't know.
Oh my God, I know what you mean.
Like to me, it's kind of like I want guys to go out there and just put on the show. Like I guess I don't understand that, you know.
Me neither. Me neither. I mean, I'm. Call me weird, but I like any fighter that is just a really great exponent of whatever style he fights.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean? That's my thing. I can find things that I appreciate about all the styles. You know, even like so-called dirty fighters like Salido. There's a science to that shit.
Yeah. There's a science to everything.
Yeah, all the styles have a science to them. You know, even the brawler, the so-called brawler. You know what I mean? It's not just like you say. Like you said, nothing. Tips off that someone's a complete and utter casual. Like you said, just throw punches, just hit them.
I mean, it's like no one has a training camp, right? And like thinks, all right, what are we going to do to make this fight exciting? Like it isn't a thing. It's never been a thing, right?
No, yeah, they're thinking, how do we win?
Yeah. So like to me, like I think I've always told people this, but if either boxing's exciting or it's not, right? Like you can't manufacture it to be exciting. Either you think it's exciting or it's not, right?
Yep.
It's like baseball. Either you like it or you don't. You know, there's no like I hate people that like me. I'm a casual baseball fan, you know, and if somebody doesn't like it, they don't like it. That's fine. I don't have a problem with people that don't like it, you know.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody, but I hate it when people are like, "Oh, they got to make it more exciting. Come on, they should put a timer on the pitcher, and they should do this and they should do that."
Only in boxing. You know, I mean, it's like it'd be like saying the fans wanting to punish the Bill Parcells Giants for their tuna ball style,
right?
You know, only
imagine
boxing,
Bill Parcells told the Giants right before they played the Bills, right?
Yeah.
Who looked like a very unstoppable offense at that time.
Yep.
No huddle offense. Nobody's really ever seen something like that. Could you imagine you just told, all right, boys, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go out there. We're gonna give the fans a show of a lifetime.
Throw the ball 100 times, and
we're gonna throw that ball. We're gonna shock people. We're gonna go for it on fourth down. Okay, we're gonna fuck running the ball.
Yeah. You just sit down, OJ Anderson. Hostetler's got this.
and, like, are you kidding me? Like really? Could you imagine the Spurs? Who have been criticized for being boring or whatever. Like, what do people want? Like, it's
that. Yep, that and oh, why is he running the last two rounds? Only in boxing is it like a crime to try and preserve a lead.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It'd
well,
be like
that's actually new, by the way. That's a new mentality.
I know, yeah, because I grew up watching guys like Jimmy Young, Wilfred Benitez.
Back in the day, if you had to fight in the bag and you were still fighting like as if you had to win that round to win the fight, or giving the other guy a shot.
Your corner was going to be pissed at you. Your corner was going to be pissed at you.
The corner's going to be pissed at you, and they would call you stupid for doing it. Right?
Yeah. So or at the very least, friggin' stubborn. Like Angelo Dundee. I remember him talking about the Ernie Shavers fight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and of course, keep in mind this is. In my opinion, the very beginnings of Parkinson's is starting to creep in. He's like in his mid-30s, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure I've told you this story. Dundee had his buddy, because they had televised on NBC, and they would show on TV how the judges had scored each round, right?
Okay.
And Dundee had one of his boys in the back in the garden, right? And he was watching it on a monitor. And between each round, he'd poke his head out the door into the big, walkway, right, that goes to the ring. And he'd either give Dundee the thumbs up or the thumbs down. So Dundee knows exactly where the fight is, right? 15th round comes and he's just like, all right, Muhammad, just, don't give this guy a chance to win, like you say. And to paraphrase Dundee, he told the reporter or whoever he's talking to, much to my horror, what does he do? He goes out there and tries to stop Shavers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what he was getting at is he was kind of it was just one of a few different stories he gave to describe what it was like working that guy's corner.
Yeah.
And that was a case of his stubborn pride / and also to a degree champions mentality.
Yeah. I mean, look. I'm a big fan of Meldrick Taylor. He was extremely talented.
Yeah.
And I always tell people I think he has the fastest hands I've ever seen. But
they're up there. They're up there at the very least, high in the running.
But great combinations. But he they used to call it too much heart for his own good.
Yep.
But
Yep. Too brave for his own good. Too brave. Stood in the pocket way too much with Chavez, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, he could have made that night a lot easier for him. He could have had a better game plan than that. In my opinion.
Yeah. It was a little.
The first half like that, that's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think he did it too long. And here's my thing. Anyone who says, yeah, but that's what made Meldrick Taylor great. I appreciate what he did. Oh, yeah, are you paying his medical bills? Are you, is your appreciation doing anything about his stuttering and his condition? Not really, right? So I think fighters have to be well aware that, it's I don't think it's worth your health, right, to please people. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree completely. But I think there's a way to appreciate it while at the same time, you know what I mean, being realistic about it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I don't think it was a good idea for Ole to go out there with that mentality, but it was a hell of a round.
I appreciate the fight. I mean, the fight made me fall in love with boxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I still think it would have been a great fight.
Yeah.
Only he would have had his arm raised at the end.
And he would have been able to be an effective fighter going forward.
I mean, think about it.
Part of it also was that Philly fighter, that you know what I mean, that Philly gym circuit mentality. Yeah. Very prideful fighters.
Bernard Hopkins lost that boat. I mean, but by the way, did you when the first fight with Dawson, did you think he was hurt?
With that shit, to a degree, you can never really know.
But I remember when he said his shoulder was popped, and he popped out his own I don't know, this whole he dislocated my shoulder. Really, dude? I don't know.
He definitely sold it like death.
Yeah, and then Max was like, "What's wrong with his shoulder?" He maneuvered it. He kind of. Did he just do that? Oh yeah, look. And then I remember the Joe Calzaghe fight. I mean, it was borderline, but come on, dude. That was over the top.
What's that?
And the Calzaghe fight when he literally I never seen a guy take the full 5 minutes.
Oh, for the low blow. Okay, I got you.
And then the 5 minutes were over, and then boom, he tried to get a quick right hand in. I thought you were hurt. What the fuck?
Oh, that was always B-Hop though.
All right, I guess I'll fight him. Here's the right hand. What the hell?
Well, see, that's the thing though. A lot of tricky fighters came. Like Jimmy Young was from that Philly circuit, and then part of the reason he was, so good at what he did is because he had to survive that Philly circuit without, having that jack shit for a punch.
Who was the other guy that they had to stop the fight because he was supposedly hurt?
Well,
He
which
did
time?
like,
Which
man, what's the guy's name? I don't remember the guy's name.
you thinking of Darrell versus Abraham? I
No,
thought.
no. I'm thinking B-Hop. Like.
Where he dove out the ring.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? Was it something Allen?
I think it was Allen. Yeah. It could be. I'm not going to confirm or deny, but I think it is. He but I mean, it's not the first. I mean, these shenanigans. It's not the first time he did it. It's like bizarre, you know. Like I don't know.
He's like he was the Ric Flair of boxing.
Like, yeah, it's like the heel.
He's the dirtiest player in the game, man.
Like Eddie Guerrero. Like he pulled Eddie Guerrero's. But
just win, baby.
You know what show was stupid? Like Centron.
Kermit Centron. Okay.
Come on, man. You know his name's Kermit. Like they was calling him Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. I remember Kermit Centron, Puerto Rican, right?
Yeah, but his name's Kermit, so they're calling him Kermit the Frog because
of course.
He jumped out of the ring.
Oh.
but dude, like, here's the part that got me right. He just laid on the ground, and he wouldn't move. So I'm thinking, I don't know. It looked like he jumped, but who knows? Maybe he is hurt, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this grown-ass man, it's people put a freaking neck brace on him. I mean, they strap him to once he's all strapped up, all of a sudden they, well, what are you guys doing? Let me go. Like I'm like, what? You're already on the fucking stretcher, dude.
The only thing missing is like B-Hop running down and dumping the stretcher over.
He punched the side of the ambulance door. Like, why you could have just like you could have told these dudes to get the fuck out of your way. You know, like I don't know, man.
Then at the other end of the spectrum, not too long ago, let's see, it was Troyanovsky and this Japanese fighter named Kiro Obara.
Right.
Troyanovsky just literally blasts him out of the ring, like legitimately, right? And Obara lands back of his head first on the concrete, somehow not only gets up, gets back in the ring and is like ready to fight right away. I was like, what? What the fuck's going on here?
Right.
This dude's crazy.
Oh man. Some of the shit that happens in boxing is unreal. I still remember the Tyson bite.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
I remember. You know what I thought happened?
What's that?
Like I was a kid, man, but
yeah.
I thought Tyson hit him so hard. I'm like, oh, Tyson's got him. He's got him. Oh, he's in pain because he was jumping up and down or something, you know. And I saw the ref like kind of intervene, and I was like, "Well, did Holyfield give up? Like, what happened, right?"
Knock his ear out.
Right. I saw the ear and shit, and the commentators are, "Oh, he bit his ear." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
I was like, "What the hell?" And then it was just like a bizarre, weird, and it's literally one of those. Everyone who saw that live remembers where they were and what they were doing. Everybody.
Yeah.
Who was there? Who you saw it with? What room you were in? It's just one of those things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Robert Allen. Somebody just said Robert Allen was the guy that.
Robert Allen. Yeah.
Pulled that bullshit with. But it was Allen. Freaking.
Amazingly though, not the first guy to bite one of his opponents.
No,
this guy named Jumbo Cummings.
It doesn't make it any better.
Oh no.
Like, I'm not the first guy to do it. Okay.
And not too long ago, one of the lesser
that's actually Holyfield's like
guys
defending Tyson, by the way.
What's it? What?
Like somebody was like, "Oh, can you believe he bit you?" And Holyfield's like, "Well, I mean, he's not the first guy to do it."
Maybe that was code for, well, I was headbutting the shit out of him. I couldn't resist that. That was too easy.
I mean, I couldn't believe I was shocked at first that it happened. And I genuinely didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. And now that he bit his ear, I just know Tyson was scaring the fuck out of me because he's pissed off, you know? And
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember didn't the commentator say something like, if I was Holyfield, I would have kicked him or something like that? I don't know. I think something like that. I'm not like, what? Kicking him? Like, really? I don't know. But what I was shocked that he did it again.
Yeah. That was what the fuck, Mike? What the fuck?
When it happened again, and it was bizarre because Tyson was like, "Let me at him, like he wanted to get to Holyfield, right?"
Yeah.
I'm like, you were just in a fight with him. Like, what? If you didn't bite his ear, you could have punched him all you want. Like, you know, like it's just.
Well, and the thing about, I mean, all he had also, he could have just hit the guy. He could have just punched Holyfield low.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
mean? If he was, I'm saying, if he felt like he was getting headbutted, and the ref wasn't doing nothing, that's what you're supposed to do, in my opinion. At least from all I've heard, in my understanding of things.
Yeah.
And like the bird, just like in the Birdo Porter fight, I was like, why the fuck isn't Virgil Hunter telling Birdo, the next time he headbutts you, fucking kick him in the nuts. And if they DQ you, I got your back. That's, you know, that's what I've always understood the way it's supposed to be. Ideally, anyways.
Yeah, kind of like when well, I don't know what he thought about this, but remember Trinidad versus Vargas? And I remember I forgot who said it was one of the few times I grew at a merchant, but like, hey, if Trinidad keeps hitting him low, then Vargas should hit him low too.
Yes.
And then Foreman was like, no, he should keep it clean. Like what? Like,
well, yeah, wait, what? Come on, George.
Like, you think he should do that, George? His advice was no, to keep it clean. And like, I'm just like, George Foreman saying that? You were freaking rabbit punching freaking.
Well, not to mention just how long he's been in the fucking game. There's nothing, you know what I mean? Even if that's his opinion, he should know that that's not how that's not the general.
If Frazier hit him low, you think fucking prime George Foreman just keeps it clean?
Hell no! Oh hell no!
It was just like a bizarre thing to say, but yeah, Vargas should hit him low.
Yeah, totally. That's like, to me, that's like boxing 101.
Like, hey, look, I'm gonna have to fight with this fucking pain for the rest of the fight. You're gonna have that pain too.
Exactly. Yeah. or you can be like Birdo and get knocked out by a headbutt. That's the way it goes.
You gotta put a stop to it somehow. You know what I mean? Well, we're gonna wrap it up in a little bit here. But did you have any final thoughts or anything like that?
No, nothing specific. Nothing specific. I appreciate you having me on, man. Always cool to chop it up with you.
Definitely. I'm gonna be having different people on more often, but just makes it interesting. I know the chat was going crazy on like the weight and who's big in the weight and all that. Like
I see that video of yours earlier had me in fucking stitches. I was just like,
this isn't the roller coaster ride, okay?
Height classes.
This isn't the, if you're taller than the frog, then you can ride the roller coaster. Or what the fuck they have next to roller coasters?
Because like I said, man, I can only imagine whoever that was that you were addressing would have thought of Thomas Hearns.
It was just a bizarre thing, you know.
I wonder, like I commented, I wonder what weight they wanted Paul Williams to fight at.
Yeah.
Heavyweight?
He's got to be a cruiserweight at the very least.
At the very least.
You know, I mean, it is true that if you get the average height per weight class, right? You know that the in by that's the average, right? It's the taller
Which,
they get, the higher
yeah,
you go in weight class.
but also implicit in the term average is that there's going to be outliers. There's going to be guys that are short for the weight class and guys that are tall
Exactly.
for it.
So
Yeah, what is
you,
it these people don't understand about the difference between mass and density?
I don't know,
It's like,
but he's big.
yeah,
He's
Sean
a
Porter.
giant.
Yeah,
Like by that logic,
what about Sean Porter? What about Sean Porter? Weight wise, he's huge for his weight class.
no, Sean Porter is short.
No, yeah, see what I mean? Yeah, exactly. But even though he comes in at like routinely 160 minimum,
Yeah.
after he rehydrates.
I mean, look, some people, I mean, have thick bones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it's mass and then there's density. It's like this basic science, guys. Come on.
Yeah, it's a little too basic. But it's not complicated enough. That's the thing. No?
Yeah. It doesn't require like some sort of scientific thesis like meldonium.
Right, exactly. Like you got to make it complicated for it to make sense. You know. But by the way, that Meldonium thing is the dumbest shit. Like all the idiots that were acting like experts and you don't understand. Like we don't understand. Like, you're acting like you've been studying Meldonium like for fucking years and shit. Like get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we got. I didn't realize we had so many friggin'.
You know what's funny is that they would read like what USADA was saying about Meldonium, right? They would read like 2-3 paragraphs of their statement or whatever, and then they would be like, "Well, let me go ahead and explain what they mean by this. Let me dumb it down for you people." But like they wouldn't even say what the statement said. Like they just made up like it was their version of what they think USADA said.
Exactly.
I mean,
because they're banking on the fact that the people listening aren't going to be able to comprehend the science of it.
Basically, at best, right? At best, Povetkin got off due to a technicality, right? I mean that's at best, and that was because USADA said, well, we did ban it, but they're arguing that it could stay in your system forever. So I guess we have to do more research on this. So that's basically what USADA said. So like this idea that they confirmed that Meldonium does stay in your system. No, they didn't. They said that they had to do more research about it. Yes, but what I do know is that no substance can be in your system, disappear from your system, and then come back in your system.
Yeah. Like this is some kind of fucking quantum mechanics.
But you don't understand. There could be false negatives. Like
no. I'm sorry, Meldonium is not the Higgs boson particle. You know what I mean?
Right. No. But my thing is like they don't even understand what a false negative is. That is that's why they do an A/B sample.
Exactly.
Right. So that's not if there was a false positive. I'm sorry. That would happen. First of all, those are extremely rare, but it wouldn't happen that many times and then pop up again in the system. It just.
Or how about the whole? This also had me in stitches. Oh no! See, Heyman paid Povetkin to take the Meldonium to get Wilder out of the fight. It's like what the fuck?
Then he could have just paid him step aside money. It's just something a lot of work.
Yeah, why go through all the trouble of paying to fly over to the UK?
I mean, this is insane.
That's what I mean, dude. We got, like I said to the library, we got some crazy motherfuckers on this YouTube shit.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of armchair experts out there. You know, but the Meldonium thing, man, that thing was a trip to me. You know.
Yeah.
It was a trip to me.
Yeah, it was a trip, but somewhat trippy, but far more delicious was the whole Kovalev Ward rematch.
Kovalev Ward, that one takes the cake.
Oh man, I got like a solid week.
No, but the thing is that they thought they had it. Like they thought they had it because they were like, oh, no, but he cheated. He cheated.
Oh my god, yeah.
But then, like, the best part was the Tony Weeks saying, "Here's good, here's good."
Yeah.
And then they show the punch, right? And that's where the punch landed, where he said it's good.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's classic. I love that shit.
It's again only in boxing. You know, I mean, it's like it'd be like if some NFL fans, right, like went and looked at the tape and they're like, "Oh, look at all these holding." Like, you know, even though we all know holding happens on every play.
Right. True. Yeah. Holding happens on every play. I mean, coaches tell players is just set a precedent where they're not going to throw a flag on every fucking play. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
so it's like a halo effect. Like if you make it a rough game early, you're gonna have to get really, really rough for them to start throwing flags, you know, soon. So that's how it is in boxing. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. They're not gonna call every little fucking thing. This is the pros.
I mean, I've heard ridiculous things like after 3 holds, they should take a point. I'm like, what? Like.
Or they'll just now they'll just go all the way to fucking Kovalev actually won because Ward cheated. Yeah. And it's like so you know the Raiders actually beat whoever because the other team committed so many holding penalties.
Somebody put Shabransky. I never got the Shabransky hype. I just didn't. Like I remember when I first heard about Shabransky, I was like, wow, this guy must be amazing. You know what I mean? By the way they're talking about him. They're saying Ward's ducking him, you know? Like, man, if Ward's avoiding this guy, he must be the shit, you know? He's an okay fighter, but I mean, I didn't see whatever the fuck. I don't know what they were seeing. I don't know.
Me neither.
Maybe because he was tall, you know?
Oh,
he's a tall guy. He's a giant. He's tall.
No, wait, no, D-Style, that'd make him a weight bully, though.
Makes you a weight bully if you're tall.
I know.
That's stupid. I know we're talking about Hoist Gracie earlier, right? By that logic, Hoist was the biggest dude.
But then again, these are the same people that will say shit like Kell Brook weight bullied Golovkin.
Right.
They're like, what? Like half my brain started to short circuit the first time I heard that shit. I'm not even kidding.
What?
Yeah, the welterweight is weight bullying the natural middleweight. What?
I mean, I could imagine like somebody trying to justify Mike Tyson versus De La Hoya because they're both like 5'8". Oh, they're the same height. Like De La Hoya has a longer reach. It's a fair fight. Like, what? Kill him. Like, what do you mean? It's a fair fight. Well, De La Hoya's a giant. He can't be fighting welterweights. He's a giant. All right.
As it is. I've heard way too many people rant on about, Hopkins was a giant when he fought, De La Hoya and fucking, what do you call it? You just talked about him, Trinidad.
I mean, Hopkins is a freaking toothpick. Like,
I know, man. It's like what?
you know, like, haven't you seen the dude's waist? It's like it's thin as fuck. Like,
No, D-Style. No, he should have been a light heavyweight.
have you
At
seen
least.
Hopkins' like ankles? They're like skinny as fuck, dude. Like,
Yeah,
I don't want people get he's a giant.
I don't know either, man.
When I picture a giant, I'm thinking Klitschko. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
he's tall, but it's a fucking massive dude. You know what I mean? You know, but it's just insane.
Exactly. Just fucking crazy people, man. Crazy people.
All right, so I cannot pronounce that name. Avtandil
Kurtzidis.
Crucides, okay. And Carlos Cuadras are the same height. Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Kurtzidis is way short. Well, of course, now he's in, the big house. I'm pretty sure.
You should have seen the video that dude did because it was funny because like he's 6 foot tall, Charlo, right?
Right.
And the guy who was fighting, he looked about, I'd say about 5, maybe 5'9". I mean, I'm guessing, but he
you're
looked
talking
short.
about Highland?
Okay, well the guy is fighting the
You're talking about Jamal and yeah, middleweight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Is he about that height? Maybe I'm not sure.
Give or take.
Yeah. So he was like, oh, it looks like Charlo's the one that is, or it looks like the other guy's moving up in weight. You know what I mean? Like what do you mean Charlo's moving up in weight? Look at him. He's big. He's massive.
But he did
He
move
has
up
the
in weight.
frame of a light heavyweight. I'm like,
No. But pump the brakes. How is he moved up a weight class? How is that not moving up? What? Did I miss something here?
He's so much bigger than the guy in middleweight.
So he should have moved up 2 weight classes. Okay.
Because he has a frame of a light heavyweight. Like why? Because he's tall? Like what? Because he's 6 feet tall.
Well, that person better be just
So I guess Jermaine Taylor should have never been a heavyweight. I'm sorry, middleweight.
Yeah.
Kelly Pavlik, definitely. Kelly Pavlik has been fighting in heavyweight.
Cruiserweight at least.
Did anybody ever see Kelly Pavlik? He was a fucking toothpick, right? Did anybody ever see Kelly Pavlik's legs? Right? I mean, Charlo is a thin dude. Like he's not a big, massive guy.
No, D-Style is huge. He's fighting midget.
He's a giant. Look at him. He's big.
He's like 6 feet tall, like you said. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm not even, fuck.
Shabransky should be a super heavyweight. You know what's funny? Once I start pronouncing it, like saying a name a certain way, I don't stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just to get on people's nerves. Like Kovalev, I'll just say Kovalev.
Yeah. That cracks me up. Because it burns their soul. I bet it burns their soul.
But like Shabransky, it's Shabransky, But,
Yep.
But you gotta, put some Shabransky into it. But I think you know the story, right? The murderous row story.
Yeah. Yeah, the quote-unquote white murderers row.
Well, they didn't say white in fairness, but...
Somebody did. I remember because Beats did a hangout. He invited me and Librarian on to address that issue.
Well, it's because first people thought I was making it up, so I took a snapshot, right?
So I have to admit, the first time I heard it, I was like, at the very least, they got to be ribbon,
All right. So I remember. Ward will never fight these guys. Like, well, they're right. He never fought Shabransky, but he got knocked out by Barrera.
I know, that was beautiful.
I remember, I actually watched that fight, and I was like, hey, let's see what this Shabransky guy's got, And when he knocked him out, I immediately came on my laptop and fired that shit up.
I had to fire it up.
I fired that thing up, man. I was like, you know what? It's time to lay it in because these dudes were hyping this shit up. I mean, I remember the dude from Ecuador over there.
Oh yeah. Oh, what a terrible loss, right?
Yeah, I remember he was asked on one of his comments or something. Why do you think Ward chose Barrera instead of Shabransky, right? And he replied like supposedly trying to be condescending, like because Ward knows he'd get his ears boxed off or like something like that. You know? Oh yeah, he's gonna outbox Ward's ear off. Like really. Shabransky, you know, like and I remember like looking at this record, there was nothing impressive about it. And I'm thinking, well, you know, okay, fine, it's box rec, I can't judge off of that. Then I went on YouTube and I saw one of his fights and I'm like,
it wasn't that impressive, I know. Yeah. Good fighter, but not.
I was like, that's it?
That's exactly. Yeah.
That's it? That's Shabransky? Like what?
Yep. There was another one of them was on the Ward Kovalev rematch on the card.
You know how like every fighter has like that inferior brother?
Oh,
you know,
is that like Bobby Pacquiao syndrome?
Yeah, is that Bobby Shabransky or is that Shabransky? Like, what Shabransky is this? I think I ran into the wrong Shabransky. You know, like this must be his like older, younger brother that's not as good.
No, DStyle, they paid him to take a dive. It's rigged.
Well, he took a dive, but not the
Burr,
type of dive
Burr kind of helped him take that dive.
Yeah. He kind of pushed him to the pool there, you know?
Yeah. Another one of those the guys on the Shabransky list was on the Wharton Kovalev rematch undercard. And I can't remember his name, but some dude on Facebook was going back and forth with me. Because, you know, for the longest time, I've wanted to see Golovkin versus Locke, right?
Speaking of Ecuador, I remember when on one of his slow motion videos, right? I put in the comment, I'm like, I'll say the name, hey, Precise, are you going to do a slow motion video when Marcus knocked out your boy? Like, and he replies, grow up. I'm like, tell me to grow up.
You fucking kidding
me? You're spending 7 hours a day, right? Doing commentary on a slow motion fight. Like, okay, you're telling me to grow up. Grow up? I have a mortgage. You're in a fucking van. You're telling me to grow up. Right? Grow up. I got a job. You got your chick working for you. What do you mean grow up? But you know,
man. I mean, there's crazy people, so crazy in those circles that while the rest of us are like saying, "Man, boxing's been spoiling us," they're like, "Oh, it is the worst year in boxing ever."
Yeah,
I'm like, "What? What the? Holy shit, man! Yeah. Holy fucking shit!"
It's been a good year. This has been a good year.
It's been compared to
it was a much needed year. I'll say that.
Yeah. We just most importantly,
this year we had something where we didn't have in a long time. That was a classic heavyweight fight.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
Or heavyweight title fight, I should say. You know, that Joshua Klitschko fight was one of the very few times that I remember, anyway. Just people in general just saying, man, that was a classic fight. And when is the last time a heavyweight fight could be in the running for the fight of the year? You know?
Oh yeah, I was hard pressed to think of the last heavyweight fight I would put on the same level as that one. Maybe personally, Lennox versus Vitali.
The fight ended too early, in my opinion.
Which one?
Like this one had it was a good stoppage. Don't get me wrong. But it was a underwhelming ending, you know. Like,
I'm not saying I disagree, but in what sense?
Well, underwhelming in the sense that compared to Vladimir versus Joshua, where there was a clear stoppage, like a guy got TKO'd. Where in this one, the fighter wanted to continue. It should have been stopped. That was a terrible cut, but nobody likes to see a fight in like that. It's just one of those like too many question marks. Like, well, what if he wasn't cut? Or
Yeah.
But it was a great fight though. I mean, Louis Vitali was for the longest time was the I haven't seen a great heavyweight fight since. That's the fight everybody said.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a good fight though. Vitali versus Lennox.
Yeah.
But I will say though, like in that fight, I don't know. I think Lennox was maybe 2-3 rounds away from knocking him out. That's what I think.
Probably.
But you never know.
Also,
Vitali could have gotten a second win. You never know.
Could have. The other thing about it is that's the last, one of the last fights in general over here to me that had that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah,
and that's in my opinion, in America at least often overlooked component of the whole thing. I mean, that sold out Wembley Arena was a big part of the whole package.
Yeah. And
it's also part of why, in my opinion, right now the UK is where it's at in boxing.
Yeah, it is where
it's at. They straight jacked that shit from us.
Yeah, GGG had to go fight over there. I mean, Klitschko had to go fight over there. I mean, Klitschko was the reigning dominant champion for how long? You know what I mean?
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
He had to go over there. You know what I mean? That's where the money was. You know what I mean?
Oh, and I got to be honest. In my opinion, in general, the fans over there just have a better appreciation for the sport.
Yeah. And then even though Klitschko would sell out stadiums in Germany, I think nothing against those fans, but compared to the UK, they're kind of tame.
Oh yeah, culturally very different. Yeah, almost more like the old,
it's
like the old Japanese. When they're not that way anymore. Remember how the Japanese crowds used to be really quiet, even like pro wrestling fans and stuff.
Yeah. Like in Pride, like you'll see like dudes like slamming each other, bleeding all over the place. The crowd's all quiet.
Yep.
But like in Germany, they do this thing where like after every round, like everybody starts clapping. Like, it's kind of bizarre. Like, I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah. Culture shock, or I guess whatever, so to speak.
It's like they just watch a performance art. Like, what's going on here? Like, what are we clapping at?
Also, but then again, to me, that's always been one of the coolest things about boxing is just the endless variety in like almost every aspect of it.
Yeah. One of the reasons I like the Super Six was because you got to see, if you remember the Super Six,
yep.
the fans in Denmark, they're kind of, I don't even remember them. Like, I don't even know. Like, were they loud? Like, I don't even remember. Like, because I know Kessler fought Frotz there.
Yeah, I remember. I seem to recall both fights having good atmospheres.
Okay. But yeah. What do you think of final thing here? But what do you think of Frotz retiring like the way he did? I always thought he would have wanted to fight Ward one more time, but. Because he avenged the Kessler loss, because that was like a thorn on the side. But he never, especially in the position, like, I mean, he had just fought like in a stadium, that was Wembley, right?
If it wasn't, it was that, what do you call it? The O2?
Okay. Well, it was in the stadium.
Yeah, it was a stadium. It was a big venue.
And, I mean, he knocked out George Groves. I thought Groves had him, to be honest with you, before the knockout.
Yeah. Frotz was looking almost like a shot fighter in that first fight.
Oh, yeah.
He was really going.
I did. And even in the second fight, I was like, you know what? I think Groves got it, and then boom, we got him.
Yeah.
Groves went down.
Maybe it's because I've just seen too much boxing. I always kind of like to see a fighter, manage to get, will step away from it at the right time.
Yeah, true. I remember when you remember the first time I saw Frost was when he fought Jermaine Taylor.
Oh, that was a fantastic fight. Fantastic fight.
Jermaine Taylor was beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, he was. That's one of the. I think it was one of the only times Froch ever got
like the first 6 rounds. I was like, "Hold on, this is overrated." I didn't think shit of Froch, but then Taylor started getting tired.
Yep.
And Froch, it was a 12-round knockout, right?
Yep. And he needed it too. That was the only way he was going to win.
It was like I don't think the fight was almost over.
Yep. Didn't the same thing happen to Taylor in that tournament against Abraham, but even worse?
Well, that one, I felt Abraham was winning.
Yeah, I don't remember the fight. Well, I just remember the way it ended. That was
a brutal knockout.
Yeah, it was.
They even took him out of the tournament after that.
Yep. Yeah, that's why that
was it Green?
I think it was Green. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame because I thought Taylor would beat Abraham. I just thought, it's weird what happened with Jermaine Taylor, man.
Yeah.
Like he had beaten B-Hop, he was on top of the world, and then I don't know.
At this point, it's clear he's got psychological issues.
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, perhaps they were kind of always there to some degree. Who knows?
Yeah. But Jermaine Taylor was at the cusp of being a star,
Yeah, especially after he won the 2 B-Hop fights.
Yeah, because people don't even remember. Like, those fights did pretty good pay-per-view numbers. They did like 420,000.
Yep.
It was the sold-out arena. Like, there was a lot of attention. ESPN was talking about it. So Jermaine Taylor was at that cusp, and then he did that Winky Wright fight, which was to this day nothing could beat the ratings on that fight.
Oh man, Winky Wright, that's one of my favorite fighters.
Yeah, I thought Winky won that fight actually, but it was close.
Yep, close fight.
I felt Winky won, but it's like after that. I don't know. It's. I guess like when he was struggling against Kasimuma.
Yeah, and then he fought Corey Spinks after that, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that's a lot of his mystique was gone. Like he couldn't knock out fucking Corey Spinks.
Yep.
A lot of people felt Corey Spinks won that fight.
Yeah, don't tell that to the HBO announcer. Jesus, holy crap! Did they hate Corey Spinks?
Well, I mean, just. You don't score boxing like on what you find exciting,
No, I agree. That it's almost hilarious to watch the HBO version and then
Jermaine Taylor was supposed to be there. He was supposed to be their next big star,
Yeah.
And
yep.
I thought
making him look bad.
Jermaine Taylor had a lot of talent, man. And
he did.
He showed it in those B-Hop fights, and. A lot of B-Hop fans feel like B-Hop was robbed. I felt those fights were close.
Yeah, those were pick'em type fights to me.
Yeah, I gave the fights to Jermaine Taylor personally, but
at least I got my scorecards on that. I've got all these old ass fucking sheets of paper with my scribbled scores on it.
Yeah, but man, it just. That Cali Pavlik fight, like I'll never forget. Like Jermaine Taylor was hurt. Well, first of all, I thought he almost had Pavlik out of there. I think it was the second round.
Yeah, he did.
He was beating the piss out of Pavlik.
Yeah.
Like I think the first round he outboxed him, and he came back in the second round, hurt him, dropped him. I was like, oh yeah, now this is the Jermaine Taylor we need.
Did he? There wasn't Pavlik even cut early too.
Yeah. But then Pavlik just started putting it on him. And I remember when he was like against the ropes and like his chest was twitching, Jermaine Taylor's.
I didn't notice that. Interesting. Good. Interesting.
Yeah, you should go back and watch that. Like it's like
Yeah, I
where
will.
your heart is. You know, what I mean? It was twitching. You
Interesting.
know, and then boom, he got knocked down, and the way he fell, like those are aside from just getting slept. when you get knocked out like that, where like you're still there but you're not there, you know. I don't know, man. It almost felt like that there was the end of Jermaine Taylor.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, and like I said, if he had, if he had any kind of underlying or at the, let's, for lack of a better term, like, minor mental illness, the worst thing in the world for that shit is head trauma.
Yeah. I wonder if that has a lot to do with all his problems, you know?
I definitely at this point, there's a whole load of mental illness going on. Like Ibuchi had same kind of thing, although I think his was from the Tua fight.
Okay. Yeah, if the things aren't looking too bright for the sport with all this shit. It's a brutal sport, man. It's a brutal sport.
It's never been a pretty business, Never been a pretty business. Yeah. Yeah.
Ray Robinson called it the hurt business, you know. It affected Ali, you know. You think Ali's Parkinson's? I think it's linked to it. A lot of people dispute it, but
I don't know. I wouldn't say I dispute it. It's just Parkinson's. It's hard to say. Some people get it, without getting hit in the face once. So you know what I mean. Sure. It's plausible, but I'm sure it didn't. Again, much like mental illness, I'm sure it didn't help.
Yeah, true. A lot of people kind of question, like, well, I don't know. Because like you said, some people get it. I have an uncle that has Parkinson's. He wasn't a boxer or anything like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, he didn't really have like he worked in offices. It's not, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't like out in the fields or something where it's like strain on your body. Like, so it's hard to say whether or not Ali had that or not because of fighting. It's really hard to say.
It probably, ironically, it probably didn't help that he had like one of the like chin of chins ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he proved that when Frazier caught him with that left hook.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy the way he bounced back. Still crazy to see the way he bounces back up. Like, what, 2?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's insane.
Round? Yeah. And after that 11th round, when Frazier beat him pillar to friggin' post.
Yep. I still remember, speaking of knockdowns, that shocked me. I remember when Frankie Randall knocked down Chavez.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, whoa! And Chavez got back up quick. It was like a flash knockdown, you know?
Oh, Chavez was so hard to hurt.
But Chavez's face got red, like he felt embarrassed. Like he was like, fuck, he just knocked me down. And then I remember Pernell Whitaker got knocked down early in the fight.
Yeah.
Who was he fighting? And Pernell got up quick, but Pernell, like, he was like laughing.
Yeah. Damn it. I know what fight you're talking about, and I can't think of it either.
Then he proceeded to beat the dude's ass.
Was it the deal? Was it Hurtado? Do you assume it was Hurtado?
Could be. I mean, I'm probably fatigued by now, but
yeah, I feel you. Who did you have win in the De La Hoya Whitaker fight?
Whitaker.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I thought Whitaker did enough.
It was close, but
yeah
I'm surprised they didn't do an immediate rematch.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. Maybe Ronaldo, but something felt like between that and the Chavez fight, fuck this shit. I don't know. Yeah.
What about Marquez getting up for knockdowns? That dude's like the Undertaker.
Oh my God, yeah. That first round against Pacquiao, holy shit.
Somebody put in the chat, how Hamed got knocked down 3 times by Kelly, then beat his. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That's like one of my favorite finishes. A friggin' southpaw anchor punch.
Yeah. Who do you think would have won? Hamed or at that time, and because they were basically both in their primes, Hamed or Morales?
Mm-hmm. Which Hamed?
Well, pre
Pre-Manny Stewart?
Let's see. When were they both at 126? So that would have been
pretty much
around the time that he beat Kelly.
Oh, okay. Around the time he beat Kelly, I mean, I think Hamed would have a chance, but Morales would have not only would he have such a huge reach and height advantage, he knew how to use it.
Yeah. It's crazy how long his arms were for that weight.
Yeah,
crazy reach too. Morales has a crazy reach for his size.
No, Morales was a weight bully, D-Style.
He got the reach of like a welterweight. You know what I mean? He's a weight bully. You know.
Yeah.
I still remember watching Williams like throwing punches behind his back on who was it? Winky Wright. Like Winky Wright, like maneuver to the left. I think either to the left or the right of Williams.
Paul Williams. Williams. Okay.
And I guess it was so Williams couldn't because you know how he has long arms.
Yeah.
But like Winky's head was like towards the back of Williams, and Williams like hit him with like around
behind the back punch. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. I think I'm pretty sure I've seen Whitaker do that once or twice too. Go behind the back, like a behind the back pass almost. Yeah.
Yeah. Long arms, Williams. Holy shit, he had long arms. I remember they did a thing on HBO where like he was gonna fight. I forgot who, but actually it was before the Quintana fight, which he lost.
Yeah.
But HBO was like, hey, this guy has a longer reach than Vladimir Klitschko. I was like, wow. I was like I'm not a sucker for those random facts, but that one was like, that's a cool fact. You know?
Get a ridiculous reach.
Like longer than Klitschko. Like I was like, what?
And then, it would just drive me nuts sometimes by always infighting. You know what I mean? He just almost never used his reach.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like no, Williams, you're freaking out 7 feet
He never
tall.
quite had that. I mean, he used it in the Margarito fight, which is probably his best fight.
Yeah, better than most of his fights. Yeah, I still thought he, spent too much time trying to infight even then. But
yeah, he did.
Made for good fights.
Oh, definitely.
Well, except for when Laura beat his ass.
Yeah. Well, man, it's been a pleasure for sure.
Likewise, bro. Much appreciated.
Yeah. By the way, Blood had put Bob Foster as a good transition to MMA.
Oh, there's an interesting one.
Bob Foster body type was good for ground. Imagine Foster with kicks.
Yeah.
So we put Shane Mosley.
That's an interesting one too.
I used to do that show with Sugar Shane too, and Sugar Shane had a big fan base on here back in 2007.
Yeah.
I'll say Sugar Shane.
Did he finally retire?
Somebody said Pacquiao would be a good MMA fighter.
He did kickboxing before boxing, didn't he?
Yeah. Somebody said, you guys think MMA grappling will eventually be like clinching and boxing? Like refs split it up after a while? Refs and MMA ask fighters to stand up on the ground if they're on the ground too long.
They already do, yeah.
Well, it's not quite like the holding in boxing, but
Well, yeah, they're not as quick about it, but yeah, they do after a certain amount of time. Especially or if they're especially inactive, the ref will stand them up now.
Yeah. Just reading over the. Just want to see if I missed any questions here.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much it. Just a lot of debate about who weighs what during the weigh-ins. And, like, you know, we live in a day before weigh-ins era. It is what it is, you know. It's a reality, and if they can make the weight on the scale, they make the weight on the scale.
Exactly.
If it affects them negatively, they should move up in weight, and if it doesn't, then hey.
You see, it wasn't fair when those short Suns teams had to play against like San Antonio. Like, what?
Oh, jeez.
Like I said, only in boxing, right?
Only in boxing, yeah. Only in boxing, that's for sure. You know, boxing. I'll give boxing this, man. It gave a lot of little dudes something to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, man, I'm gonna go ahead and
yeah, it's that time, bro. It's that time.
go tonight. Yep. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
All right.
Likewise. Peace.